If you're constantly battling low energy, cravings, weight control, watching your health slip away, listen up. There's a simple daily protocol they don't want you to know about that's helping people ditch their meds and reclaim their health. Up to 88% of Americans potentially suffer from some degree of insulin resistance. The Feel Great protocol is a simple 2-step daily system designed to help your body work with you, not against you. Step 1. Unimate, a powerful yerba mate extract clinically shown to boost mood, increase mental clarity, and support fat burning. Step 2. A patented fiber matrix called Balance. Taken before meals, it helps regulate blood sugar, curb cravings, and support healthy insulin response. That's it. No crazy diets, no meds, just science-backed support your body actually understands. Feel Great is perfect for you if you have low energy, weight control, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, poor sleep, diabetes, snacking, sugar cravings, gut health, systemic inflammation. This isn't a trend, it's a transformation. Start today to reclaim your health with the Feel Great protocol.
Right where we belong. The movement is exclusive, so come join along. Red pilling with this music while you enjoy the song. Yeah. It's easy to lose it.
Oh, come on. Are you telling me there were no kids on the island? Huh?
All right, time to deport a child with 87 prior arrests. Get your church away from my immigration protest!
No! Where are my mercenaries at? No!
Mr. Graham, what do we have?
A forever war, if you can keep it. We need national voter ID or we'll never win again. Why aren't you guys passing the SAVE Acts?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Table of Titans. Came in a little bit of funny in there. It's Thursday again, and it's red line deadline. We used that one before. We've seen a whole lot of changes out there, and we might have maybe a military invasion by the weekend take over the Karg Island. I'm not entirely sure. We're trying to deal with the Congress, the SAVE Act, which is still being talked about all weekend. Nobody's going home. Fuel prices rising. We've got AI and job problems coming in really quickly and a whole bunch of empty office space that's never going to be filled again. Plus all the other stuff. We got crazy stuff about Epstein that came back up out of the file system. So we're going to talk about that. Just too much to talk about. Got a whole bunch of tidbits to go ahead and talk to you guys about. I got Space Shot, Rdoc, and Tron. What's going on, Tron?
What's up, guys? What an amazing week. Boom, boom, boom. And hopefully we'll see an end to this war around Easter. That would be proper. That would be biblical. And again, we're going to dig, meme, and pray for our military in harm's way. And so far, knocking it out. Boss doing everything at once. We have Bibi Netanyahu with 6 fingers, missing suits, and even coming out and showing that he has 5 fingers. And again, the most entertaining outcomes, the most likely. We, the people, are prepared for everything and anything, and I love it. We even have Pepe sugar boats coming in, and tippy-top shape, baby. Let's go. Is it Nagasaki? Is it Hiroshima? No, it was Pearl Harbor today. Again, everything going on at the same time. Hit that thumbs up, like, share, subscribe, and let's boom this.
Thank you, Tron. Mr. Rdoc, how you doing, sir?
This Pearl Harbor thing killed me. Oh my God. It was so much information this week. So many memes based on the AI that was coming out. We got Joe Kent. We'll cover a little bit of Joe Kent tonight. We will cover the AI stuff. We will cover some of the Marine Amphibious Units of the MEU 31st, which is a Q post, by the way, that is coming and is currently past the Straits of Malacca, along with other Marine Amphibious Units, LDHs, and other ships that may be en route as well. Still at least 10 days away, probably 2 weeks away from any kind of deployability in the region. But we'll cover all that, and we'll cover the current events and how we got to where we're at. And we'll go into probably a little bit more in depth as to who Joe Kent really is, because it's fascinating when you really dig into you get past the Dershowitz and the Loomers and the Mark Levin comments and everybody that has to trash him. They have to trash him. They have to smear him. And because it is damaging, it's damaging. And he gives his reasons for why he did what he did. And we'll ask the questions that were asked of him, and we'll discuss it. And we'll see what we all think collectively about what he did and why he did it. And is it an out for the president to be able to get out of this situation before we send troops into harm's way? So we'll see. We'll discuss all of that. It's going to be an interesting thing. It's popcorn time, folks. It's popcorn time.
Yeah, well, crazy week, dude. I mean, Kent, we got Netanyahu who's playing RPG games out there with the hide and seek and AI and all that stuff out there. I forget some of these things out there. What do you got, Mr. Space Shot?
Yeah, dude, it's Bananasville out there. It's that one. I would say there's one specific country that is on the map besides Iran that has been just ringing, and I've said this for what, since September. That has been just ringing in my head, a certain place for last, and we'll see how this stuff works out. Very interesting stuff, and we'll get into the details. And you mentioned Levin too, Rdoc. Did he end up going on Levin? Because I know he was supposed to yesterday. I don't know if he ended up getting Joe Kent. Wasn't he? Didn't he agree to go on yesterday?
No, I did not see that.
Oh,
I did not know
I thought he had
was a
agreed to go
possibility.
on. Maybe it was a BS or whatever, but maybe he is coming on. We'll see how it goes. But hey, always big hat tip to the mods out there. You guys rock, helping ourselves and many others out there. And of course, a big hat tip to Country and the folks over there at Liberty Based News. And we have a birthday from yesterday. Bree turned the big 40. Uh-oh, I wasn't supposed to say that, the age. But she had a birthday.
She's a woman. Happy birthday.
You're a woman now. Dun, dun,
40 years
dun.
old.
But happy birthday, Bree. Happy birthday to
Happy
you.
birthday.
Happy birthday,
like her.
Bree. Happy birthday to you. And back to you, Mr. Hulkinator.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. As we get rolling into some of this. Let's start off with some of the light stuff as we get through some of this stuff out here. We did the cartoon thing in the beginning here. Here, we're going to go off with this. We're going to rip the Band-Aid right off of this thing right here and play about a good minute of this thing, because I don't know who's paying CNN out there, but...
And this is one of those, because just take a look here. MAGA GOP view of Trump. Approve 100%. If you are a member of MAGA and the GOP, you approve of Donald John Trump. 0% say that they disapprove. You don't have to be a mathematical genius to know you can't go higher than 100%. He is the 1972 Miami Dolphins. Now, there are some Republicans who disapprove of Donald John Trump, but they are not members of the Make America Great Again movement. The bottom line is this: if you are a member of MAGA, you approve of Donald Trump.
It's interesting, though, because there have been a couple prominent people who have sort of come out online, and they're very mad about this war with Iran because he promised no new wars. Is there any sign that people might be leaving MAGA relative to 2024?
Yeah, okay. So, I've said it before, and, the theme of this segment is Tucker Carlson be darned. And when we look at the numbers, I mean, I've heard some people say, oh, you know what, when you look at those MAGA numbers, it doesn't account for those who might have left MAGA. But take a look here. Americans who identify as MAGA, in November of 2024, it was 28% of Americans. Now it's basically the same. If anything, it's slightly higher at 30%. The bottom line is this: the MAGA base within the GOP is not shrinking. It's the same size. If anything, it is slightly larger than it was back in 2024 when, of course, Donald Trump won a second term. So that 100% that Donald Trump has approval among MAGA GOP, that is not an artifact of MAGA shrinking. It's just an indication of how strong Donald Trump's grip is on that MAGA base.
So that's coming out there, and we still have a approval rating in the mid to low 40s right now here at this point as a national poll itself. But again, we still have 80% of the Americans inside the United States that want voter ID and the SAVE Act passed, and 20% don't. So we're still fighting this back and forth. But I wanted to ask you guys, because I don't think I agree with what Trump has been doing 100%. In the last few things. He's done some great things. Don't get me wrong. I'm very happy the direction because it's way better than the Tim Walz and Kamala Harris and the rest of the Minnesotans that were over there, all the Somalis and whatnot. So I'm happy with the direction that we could have gone off the cliff and still continued on with Barack Obama's 5th term and all those sort of things. But again, Trump is one person. We know deep state's still there. They're infiltrated. They've been playing this game forever. So I wanted to get your thought process on there because, I'm not 100%. Anybody?
Sure. Let's go one by one. I think that's a little ridiculous, right? Because it's 100% and it's on CNN. So that's why I was like, what? Like, that's weird. And you have a lot of these people like Scott Jennings, showing the pro stuff with Trump and whatnot lately. But in regards to 100%, I would say, again, we are not cheerleaders here, right? Like like this guy saying, oh, if you're MAGA, you're just behind anything he does 100%. And of course, we never want to see anybody die. We don't want to see a war, right? We don't want a prolonged war, especially. So like I've been talking to a few folks about, even just before the show, we'll see how this stuff rolls out, right? Like if we're going to have a quick situation and we'll be out of there and then it does elevate to be a really good thing, which I do think it will be happening, absolutely I'll back that. But if they want to put boots on the ground, we're going to be there for 20 years, clearly we're not for that. So that's how I'm standing on that one right now.
That's the boom time. And you have to remember, we love polls, right? Going back to 2016, 99.9% to 1. And I'll tell you what, guys, this is the storybook ending. This is everyone, I truly believe, on this planet rooting for the good guy and rooting for the quote-unquote bad guy at the same time. Tony Soprano, Scarface, Tony Montana, even Breaking Bad, Walter White. We want to see this come through completion. And again, the most interesting outcome and entertaining is the most likely. Now, how are we going to get this done? We have to have the courts. We have to have the judges. There are no arrests until the arrests happen elsewhere. And you have to remember, Teflon Don is almost invisible, guys. July 13th, they threw everything they could at him, and when they couldn't beat him, they had to try to take him out. And again, the storybook ending, we want to see Boss complete this MAGA, this 16-year plan. I mean, we've started this from the beginning, backing Boss, and then this Q thing came out, a little peek behind the curtain, and that gives me full optimization. That gives me full hope that this is going to be fulfilled, whether it's Boss or not. Again, not on their 16-year plan. We've been waiting here since the beginning. Is it going to be 8 years? Is it going to be 2 weeks? And I'm in it for the long haul. I think most of us are too. I mean, we forget about the eugenics experiment in 2020, known as the plandemic, when they tried to wipe us all out. But here we are, guys. Here we are, fight. The storybook ending is going to come to an end soon. 2028 is right around the corner. Will the diamonds be returned? I don't know, but America and the world is in good hands, and we're in a better place right now in 2026. We just got to wait and be patient, and we will be rewarded. We waited this long. Why not a little bit more? Right?
Yeah, Mr. Space Shot. Wait, let's get Space Shot. I'll get you in the end.
Space Shot started it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right. I was totally on crack, dude. I'm going to blame that on senior moments. Go ahead, Mr. Rdoc.
But like Space Shot said, this is a wait and see kind of moment. And like I said, popcorn time. This is the time to eat popcorn because there are things that have to happen sometimes that we might consider painful moments that we are watching and seeing why is this happening? The whole issue that Space Shot alluded to, Save Israel for Last, is an interesting concept in and of itself, and it is worthy of not a 2-hour program, but a 4-hour, 5-hour, 6-hour, 9-hour dig. That's the kind of the depth that you got to go into to understand some of the things and some of the pieces that are moving, because it's infiltration, not invasion, right? And so who are the infiltrators? Is it Iran? Iran always messes with our elections. So does China, so does Russia. But the whole angle of Ukraine is still out there, and now it's Cuba, and what is happening? And I go back to what I said way back a long time ago, February, whenever it was, spheres of influence and zones of control. There is a reset happening globally, and international law be damned and UN charter be damned. It doesn't really matter when it comes down to how great powers act in the world in reality. So we have to wait and we have to see the events play out. We can only live in the moment, each of us, and do what we can do after much prayer, after much digging, and after much meaning, and be at peace with what we can do ourselves in each moment that we have in this life. And that's the bottom line. That's all we can do. The cares and the worries of the world cannot steal away your peace. And wars and rumors of war should not steal your peace. Stay in alignment with God, and your path is assured. And that's all we can do. So that's why I'm saying it's popcorn time.
Yeah, I mean, that's the way I've personally been thinking too lately. Because I mean, if it happens and we save the world or it goes back into a hellhole, it don't matter. In the end, we're still here. We still got family. We're still going to be here past Trump. It's something we're going to have to deal with, but in the end, God wins. And that's the way I've been looking at it, because it doesn't matter. It's already been set. Nothing could stop what is coming.
Yeah, well, Hulk, we could sit here and rant and rave and scream what a horrible guy Trump is for the next 2 hours, or we could also sit here and fluff him up and say he's the best thing since sliced bread for the next 2 hours. And guess what bearing that's going to have on the totality of the world? You guys guessed it. Nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you itself. But again, we don't try to play favoritisms here. We always give you both sides of the story. And let's start ripping some of that stuff off as we start getting in here. Long as we're talking about CNN and hoax and all that, because I don't know what they were telling us here. I just put together, I found a quick little list if you want to take a look here and maybe pick one of these that CNN has been hosting out there. And I'm not sure if they're on the good list or the bad list here at this point, but they've been kind of positive lately. Anybody want to grab one?
Biden, sharp as a tack. I love that
Elon
one.
Musk Nazi salute.
Oh, God. Melania documentaries of box office flop hoax. I mean, they started that stuff before she even had her first show. Oh, look at the pre-buys. They're not even there. And I'm like, yeah, because, dude, I had people on Twitter calling me a boomer. Calling me a boomer, saying, okay, boomer. Well, people do pre-buys nowadays. And I'm like, well, does a majority of people do pre-buys nowadays? I said, maybe I am a boomer, but I don't buy the movies ahead of time.
You called yourself a boomer.
That's what they
so
call
just
me.
one.
Like, okay, boomer.
So I want to throw that piece out. Here's another interesting piece before we start getting into stuff. This is Benny Johnson's over here. And did anybody find out what Trump did to Obama's portrait? And where he put it? So we'll just put this kind of at the end over here. If we take a look over here as he's inside the White House, it's been removed from the frame, it looks like, and just hung on the wall like that over there. So no special frame or anything.
I think what this is him peeking around the corner and like spying, but not really. See how half his body's there? So he's kind of there, but not there. It's brilliant, boss. I love the way he does this.
Well, when I did see the photo, it reminded me of the I Spy thing that Trump was talking about with Obama.
Mm-hmm. Wait, where's the one of him with the green bush in the background? Wasn't that the official portrait or something?
Yeah, I remember that artist drew that thing with that chair and it looked all weird. Yeah, I remember that. But I just wanted to throw that out. What else I got for? Ran by this, feeling lucky, and I'm not a big fan of the crosshair because I was just like, what? But they're 4 individual photos is what it is.
Yeah, isn't that kind of cool? Like, again, going back to Bulletproof, going back to the luck of the Irish and, the gold at the end of the rainbow, that is the goal right there, our 88-foot flagpole. And sometimes through time travel, you're going to need a little bit of luck. There it is. Boom time, baby. 4-leaf clover on the Patrick's Day. And Boss came out with a prayer, too. That was nice to see Boss do a little prayer when he had the Irishman in the other day.
Yeah, so that's that over there on that side. And then again, we had Trump meet the recipients of the dead soldiers at Dover. So they had the transition of the bodies over there. So hat tip to all the service members that are putting their life on the line and continue to put their life on the line, because there are real deaths inside this war and they're only going to grow a little bit more. So things to remember. Hat tip to the service members.
Yeah, brilliant that we have a president that is not going to look at his watch during this event, which we had last time. So yin and the yang, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, exactly. On the positive side, what else do we got? We're going to do a little funny here. Might as well go here, right? Their AI is out of control, but let's go here.
We have breaking news for you this evening. It appears that Ayatollah Mustafa Khamenei, Iran's new supreme leader, is gay. This comes after his internet search history was leaked to the press, which shows he was Googling things like how to come out of the closet in Iran without being thrown off a roof, or how to watch Brokeback Mountain in Iran without getting caught by my father's Iranian Revolutionary Guard, or even things like, is that cute American gay guy Pete Buttigieg single? Anyway, oil prices...
Now, what is he gonna do? Looks like a Hershey Highway.
Gonna hump it. Don't need another copyright. Dancing Queen.
Is it true? Was his that person actually gay? Did it come out? Because I heard Trump was laughing at it when they told him.
No, that's the worst insult you can ever give a leader or anyone of a Muslim faith, is calling him not only a goat, a bleeper, but yeah, homosexual. They don't like that. That's worse than drawing Muhammad cartoons, maybe.
So
I forgot about that Muhammad cartoons. Yeah. Go ahead, Mr. Rdoc.
So Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khamenei, his father, was a moderate and had a fatwa against Iran acquiring or pursuing nuclear weapons. And after his death, before his death, supposedly he would not name his son as successor. And our intelligence has looked at that along with other things about, whether the possibility exists that he is gay, because he waited until he was 30 before he got married and so on and so forth. There is no proof of this. The 88 clerics that picked him, and they if they had any kind of issues, they wouldn't have. And not only that, there is a continuous tension between the IRGC and the clerics. And that tension is something that that we would hope would explode into the IRGC not following after the clerics and doing their own thing, except what has happened with his appointment and is a more strong unification in the country. The government has not fallen, even though the Israelis are pursuing their decapitation strikes continuously. We'll get into some of that in a little bit. But in terms of, is he gay and does it matter? Not necessarily, because what is more important is the fact that he is more hardline than his father. He is more willing to pursue nuclear weapons program than his father was, because especially what has happened now. And this is not necessarily good. And who would follow him if he's removed and taken out would be even more hardline. And that's the reality of the situation, more so than, trying to throw out there that he is gay, to throw tension between the IRGC and the Supreme Leader. That's kind of the way the analysts are looking at it from an intelligence perspective.
Yeah, I mean, where did it even come from that came out like that? I mean, I just kind of heard it casually through the news. Do we have any idea where it came from?
Intelligence sources leaking to the media information about their assessments and what they've been collecting on him, little different fact patterns that have been put together in a picture that is designed to draw a conclusion that he might be gay.
Yeah,
it's a might be.
Question.
Oh, yeah, I heard that they found his OnlyFans account. Go ahead.
His OnlyFans.
Could be. Yeah.
What's the power structure in like the IRGC versus like these clerics or like priestly types or whatever? Do they hold power?
So we covered this years ago in a deep dig that we did, I think back on Patriot News or one of those things. We went into really late night deep dig for like 4 hours or something into the structure and how that all works over there. The way to think of it is after the 20-year Iran-Iraq war, Iran saw how we dealt with Libya, Muammar Gaddafi, and the fact that Gaddafi never did acquire a nuclear weapon. And then they saw how we dealt with Saddam Hussein, who may have said he acquired a nuclear weapon. And Iran said, okay, well, we're going to pursue a more pragmatic approach, and we're going to not give up enrichment programs so that we can have the tools necessary that if we have to build a bomb, we can, but we're not necessarily going to build a bomb. But we want to have the ability to do so because we've seen what the U.S. and the West has done and what Israel has done.
No, we don't lie at all.
Yeah. So they take a more pragmatic approach. And so since the Iran-Iraq war, they have structured their government in a way that allows for what we call a mosaic approach. So, and this is what you'll hear, mosaic defense. They have a deep, they're very intelligent people, very large country, 92 million people, I think, in the country. It's not small like Iraq. It's not a little tiny country. And it is one of the oldest, if not the oldest, definitely in the region, civilizations. And they haven't forgotten what the UK and what the US did post World War I with the country and the whole history there, which is very lengthy. We've covered some of it on the show. So they have instead taken a pragmatic approach and said they have a secession plan that is very deep, and the religious side of the government versus the secular side of the government, and the two of those continuously work in a kind of a struggle, a balancing of power type of situation. And they both sides have depth in them of some very intelligent people. We'll get into Larijani, who was assassinated in a strike, and who he was a little bit later on the show. But those type of people are the moderate people that we were negotiating with that gave concessions, and they're getting eliminated one by one. Well, what's the result of that? Is it ultimately going to be chaos in the whole region, breaking into a civil war and destruction of the civilization? That's a goal that Israel has, and it's different from a goal that we have. And we'll talk about the testimony that was given in front of Congress today and some of the answers that Tulsi Gabbard and Ratcliffe gave as to what their assessment is of what our goals are versus Israel's goals and why the two are not necessarily the same.
Yeah, so that's kind of like the next button to go ahead and head into right there. So you hit it off. Space Shot, did you want to say something, sir?
No, perfect. No, I thank you for that clarity there, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing how this stuff goes here. So yeah, go continue on. Thank you.
So we've seen Dan Bongino, Kash Patel, the rest of the group out there giving us information, but the one that's been missing for a long period of time is Mr. Radcliffe over there at the CIA, keeping his head down and doing his job like he's supposed to. Out there. So, he's coming out giving testimony, and I don't know how to put this together with what we are hearing out of the administration when they said they went and met with Iranian officials and they told us that it's got 60% uranium and they're weeks away and blah, blah, blah from a nuclear weapon. We've been hearing that sort of shit out of Bibi Netanyahu for a better part of 20 years. I'm sure we can go find the video clip that shows him over and over and over repeating that sort of thing. But we do have Radcliffe saying Iran possesses at least 440 kilograms of uranium enriched to weapons grade 60%, which is not used for civilian use. And they said, well, you give us that, we'll give you 3 to 6% so you can do some nuclear reactor stuff and you're not going to make any bombs with it. And they said no. But there's both sides of the story, like Rdoc was just saying before here, on the way that we're hearing both sides, but we don't know what the answer is going to be till this is all said and done. There's a lot of hidden hands.
That's a little misinformation. 60% can be used for, tipping certain types of weapons like we do with our anti-tank rounds. 80% enrichment is weapons grade. So 60% is really not something that has a purpose that they would use the 20 and 30% for, and that's where most of their uranium was enriched. But they did enrich some to 60%. They didn't take it all the way to 80%. That would take 2 months worth of time. And so that's why you always have this assessment and the shifting, what's called the shifting red line, which Joe Kent talks about, of taking Trump's policy of we will not allow Iran to have a nuclear weapon to become instead, Iran can't have enrichment capabilities. And what did Iran actually agree to in the final days of negotiation that caused Israel to preemptively strike Iran? And then we, according to Rubio, had to act because our assets would be in danger based on Israel's actions. We'll get into all those details, but I just want to clarify 60%.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Is not something you can make a nuclear. You can make a dirty bomb from it, but you can't make a weapons grade nuclear tip missile ballistic.
Yeah, how many 440 kilograms? How many pounds is that? Anybody know off the top of their head?
2.2 pounds per kilo. I mean, I didn't sell a lot of cocaine in my younger years. No, 2.2 pounds per kilogram. So it's like what, eight, almost 1,000. And Hulk, I just gotta run away.
This would make five nuclear
keyboard for a second.
This could make 5 nuclear weapons once they enrich it to the 80%. Is basically the gist of it.
So how long would it take them to enrich 60% at the technology they have? Because we all remember Cessna and, the centrifuges and those sort of things. How long would it seriously take them off the top of your head?
A lot longer because we destroyed their enrichment capabilities.
Oh, no. Before. Let's say before we blew everything up. How long in your honest opinion, would it take
Fastest would have been 2 to 4 weeks. The more likely scenario would be 2 months.
Mm-hmm. And that's obviously still having ballistics capability, put it in a missile and launch it, versus just make the product itself. So there's a lot of steps that still needed to get there, but we saw a lot of photos out there. Here's another thing out here that we want to pay attention to because helium is a huge element over here on the Earth and we can't produce it. We can only capture it over here. And Qatar produces 63 million cubic meters of helium at the same time it produces natural gas. It also makes, Rdoc was taken, it makes 30% of the fertilizer for the entire Earth. So chip manufacturers right now here at this point are having a huge problem because they don't have any access to produce chips here. They only have, like Samsung in the United States, have maybe 3 months of helium. The other gases they're running into, the closed cell foam stuff that they ship packages in and everything else that, make butane and everything else in your daily lives that you find easy to, are starting to disappear. So a lot of the international manufacturers here have already stopped producing chemicals that other companies would use to produce final products because they're not sure if they're going to get any more. And these are all in the Philippines and all the stuff that we get a lot of that stuff for agricultural, whether it be semiconductors, plastics, shit like that. It doesn't look good. And remember, we need that gas to cool the 14,000 MRI machines that are in worldwide. So think about that. Sorry, you can't go for an MRI because we don't have any helium to cool the machine. Just saying, things to think about. Comments?
The fertilizer thing, I'm glad you brought that up. I didn't pull a clip for that. But basically, Qatar produces 30% of the world's global supply of fertilizer. Iran, another large chunk, like 16%. And then Russia has another large chunk. Between the three of them, fertilizer could take a hit for more than 50%. And that's global food supply. So we're already seeing the effects on gas prices and as a basic raw material input to inflation. Okay. Food
Rdoc,
is...
Hey, when's planting season in the United States?
It's which season? It depends on which region, because some regions have multiple seasons. But
April's when they start planting and start figuring out for summer crops and start seeding the soil and then have all the nutrients that they need and all that, and they're not going to get it. So that's going to be a big problem, like they did in 2020. I'm just saying.
Yep. A lot of pressure on the EU in terms of their supplies for food production and energy.
Yeah, and just to put this in perspective for everybody out there, you remember when Biden did that? Biden pauses LNG exports approval after pressure from the climate activists. They shut down that entire gas field down there in Texas and said you can't export it. for those big giant, what do they call those, liquid petroleum ships and stuff like that. This stuff's moving now as far as I know, but I'm just pointing it out that, what the previous administration was doing versus what we're getting right now out there.
Gas prices have risen much higher than petroleum oil, just raw oil production prices in Europe, 60%. We talk a lot about West Texas Intermediate and Brent crude, but the Chinese crude is no longer being exported. They have passed a law now, I guess, that says no more exports. So Australia is cut off, and Australia is now an issue. South Korea, Malaysia, Philippines, all of these countries receive China oil, and no longer it's being cut off because they're hoarding it. They're because they know what's coming.
They know it's going. Scott Bissett said that in the coming days, we may sanction Iranian oil that's on the water, about 140 million barrels. So since that stuff's floating around on the Ghost Fleet, they're thinking about taking some of that and pumping it back into the system itself to bring down prices. And obviously, we're also using the National Reserves also to help supplement oil prices until stuff could fluctuate a little bit more. We'll get into more of that a little bit later because California is doing some stuff. And then did you hear that Texas, with the Permian Basin, Mr. Rdoc, by 2035, they're going to supply 70% of all crude for the United States?
I wouldn't doubt it, and it's still not necessarily enough because we export most of the stuff we produce in our country in terms of oil pulled out of the ground to refineries in Europe and elsewhere around the world. We import the light sweet crude from places like, now Venezuela. And Venezuelan light sweet crude is now in Houston, according to the president, and being processed by Houston refineries. The LNG that we were selling to Europe is now the only source because Qatar was the other source for Europe, and that's now cut off. LNG has been cut off completely. And then the Russian LNG is being attacked. The ships are being attacked, one of them off the coast of Malta. And so LNG is now going to become a rare commodity, and that price is increasing faster than oil.
Yeah, exactly.
Oil price under 100 is the goal of the administration. It is not a secret. The president even mentioned it. And the gold prices today, I think, were hit 118. I have to check the charts today, but in order for, according to the internal numbers, keeping the price below 100 is the goal of the administration for the midterms and for the elections in November.
Coming quick, because what I hear, the Permian Basin is the number one oil reserve for the United States, and the second one is off of the California over there in Santa Barbara. I didn't know that's the one they just turned back on. We'll get back over to that a little bit later here as we talk about this. And again, President Trump has issued a 60-day suspension on the Jones Act, which typically requires goods moved between domestic ports to travel on U.S. built and operated vessels. The goal is the White House Secretary, blah, 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 to ease supply bottlenecks and lower prices for energy due to the Mideast conflict is what they're talking about out there. And then there's our gas prices out there. Go ahead and pop that out there, what you paid for gas. I'm going to have to buy some tomorrow. It's going to suck on a Friday. But I don't know what I'm going to pay. So, a pain in the pump. When's the last time Rdoc had to go buy gas, by the way? I'm just wondering.
Per liter? Whatever, over in the Europe.
I just don't go anywhere, dude. I just stay at home and I save money. It's great. It's a life hack.
You got one car, Tron?
We have two.
We have two, but we drive zero. It's like I think it was like 330 here yesterday, and it's been hanging around 299. Before that. So I don't know what it's saying here. White 379 to 359. Yeah, roughly.
I'm gonna take a quick guess out here. Anybody want to guess what gas prices in California are going to be?
$5.49.
I'm gonna look because I have to buy it tomorrow.
Does it matter what city? If you're more north or more south in California, does that matter, Hulk?
No. So at the Chevron station is $6 a gallon. The one across the street for the new Walmart gas filler thing, it's $5.14. Probably last time I bought gas from that station, it was $4.90 a gallon.
You better steal some windshield wiper after that or something. Whatever's out on the open, you got to take it.
And Ralph's is at $5.30 a gallon. So I don't know what Walmart's doing. I don't know where they're getting their gas from. Maybe from Venezuela. I'm not sure.
Watered down gas, yeah.
Yeah. So Hulk, was that going back like 6 months? China. Hulk, was that going back like 6 months? Was that like it was still 440 for you or whatever the case was?
Yeah, it's around the 4.5 mark. You're creeping between 5. Sometimes it got down to 430, 410, whatever, but never cracked below $4 a gallon. But I remember back in when Obama was in office, back in 2010 or whatever, when the gas prices went totally crazy. I was paying almost $6 a gallon just for like 87, dude, at a shitty freaking gas station to be like, $5.86. I'm like, mother effer, what the hell is going on?
Well, a lot of that is the state. Sorry, a lot of that is the state regulatory taxes that each state can impose on the gallon. So the actual gallon itself may be somewhere around, $3.30. But once you add all the state taxes, the additives, and other things, yeah, it adds up fast depending on the state.
They got $2 on it.
You really voted on that, huh, Hulk? I mean, that right there has to tell you that voting is not legit. Because I mean, what human would say? In a majority of people, are going to say, "Yeah, I think our gas prices need to be more." Like, I don't think so. It's not possible.
So Trump did this to California.
Tonight, oil is once again flowing through a long-shuttered pipeline in California. The state's Democratic governor and potential presidential candidate says he will sue to stop it. Senior national correspondent William Lajeunesse is at the pipeline site tonight.
So blah, blah, blah. They closed it 10 years ago because it leaked oil. Guess how many gallons it leaked? Oh, 3,000 gallons. Oh, it's an ecological. It's like Exxon Valdez. It is so bad. We're going to have to stop it and we're going to have to research it and we're never going to open it again. Never mind the fact that we're also losing 19% of our refining capacity here in California. On top of it is gas prices are going to go up. Surprised Trump hasn't stepped into any of that stuff to keep those refineries there operating in California. But who knows? We got more oil coming in from this particular area. This is 1.7 million cars that'll fill every month with gas. So that's a lot.
And thank you very much to Josie Ann, who gifted 5 subscriptions to the channel earlier. Didn't want to forget about that. And thank you very much, Josie Ann.
Oil hitting $150 a barrel is very likely if this conflict protracts beyond another month, and 250 if what a lot of people are saying is this thing maybe not resolved until autumn. And so that is significant. So we have to keep an eye on this. Popcorn time.
Freaking Rdoc there. In case everybody's paying attention or not, the deadline for either Ken Paxton or John Cornyn to exit the Texas GOP state Senate primary has passed, which means they're both in, and they're going to have to spend that $80 million to go against Paxton again. So just little things to pay attention to. And as far as I know, Trump didn't endorse either one of them, right? Anybody? No?
Not that I'm aware of.
Not to my knowledge.
Okay, I'm just double checking.
Cornyn needs to go. Even if Paxton is temporary, Cornyn needs to go. Absolutely. And if he's not gone this time, I'll run against him myself next time.
Oh, please come back to the United States and do that. You could bring your hot chick with you, dude. It'd be awesome, dude. We'll smuggle you. Come right over to Mexico, Tijuana. I will drive down there and pick your ass up and we'll come across no problem. She just has to wear sombrero.
Jeez.
Hell yeah.
Okay, Save Act had made it out of committee. They went to the floor. They're debating it. Nobody's going home the entire weekend. You were working. So it's a work weekend. So we'll see what Thune puts together. Do they want to do the 51 vote type of deal there and play those particular games? No, they want to play the 60 game. So we want everybody coming and vote and have their fair share versus do the 51 and get it through. So I'd rather do the 51. I think it would work through the reconciliation, but they seem to be scared to push it that way.
No,
that's the thing.
Arda, just really quick. They need to do the 51 because if anybody's listening to Nancy Pelosi lately, she's like, 50 votes. And you're like, well, don't you need the 60? Well, no, we just need that plus the 1. So they're willing to do it, and they're going to. So they need to stop being pansies and absolutely do it. Sorry, go ahead, Rdoc.
No, as I say, the issue is not necessarily whether the act will pass. I think it's the issue of what the act will pass with stuff added to it.
Exactly.
And Fetterman, we played the clip from Fetterman last week, I think. And it's an insightful clip because he's like, we would vote for this thing if it was by itself, but it's not by itself. And so Thune is definitely playing games, and there are different interests here that have their agendas that are trying to add crap to this bill beyond it just being a bill about voting and voter ID.
5 items in there, like, girls and boys separated, no bathroom sharing, and nothing of that Olympics, and like whole bunch of other stuff that's in there. And that's exactly what he was saying is like, if you put this bill up, nobody's going to vote for it. It's going to die. And if you roll together a voter ID thing, everybody's going to vote for it. And then you could deal with all the other shit later. Just get the freaking voter ID out of the way. And unfortunately, Fetterman's correct, in my opinion. I think most people would go for it.
Spot on. Yeah.
On the
Get rid
other
of everything else. Get rid of absolutely everything else, voting only, and then pass it along. And then do whatever the hell else you want to get. All the shenanigans that they want to pull. Get that stuff later down the line. This is more important.
So they did vote on this.
But you have to ask the question, why is the Republican leadership in the Senate bringing only the bill to the floor that has the junk in it and not the bill that is without it? That's a question that a lot of people are asking who are following this very closely.
There are a bunch of stiffs that are working together to not get it passed, unfortunately.
Sorry, quick answer. K, I think V2 says I paid $6.89 in SoCal last week for gas. Holy crap, dude. Sorry.
Damn.
I just had to put that out there. That's the highest gas price I've seen in a long time if you paid that much. Holy cow. On top of the other things, House of Representatives passed a bill requiring automatic deportation for illegals who commit welfare fraud. 231 to 186, guys. So that's good. Social Security, SNAP, mail fraud. So pretty much everybody in Minnesota is getting deported. We're keeping score out there. So they got that one down. What else do we get? House passes the Bar Act, which makes any non-citizen who assaults or harms a federal working dog, because remember that illegal immigrant who kicked the dog and from DHS and they arrested him. So if you kick a dog, you're going to get deported. 228 to 190, guys.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, our government is working. What else do we got here? Oh, here's another one. Space Shot. Read that for everybody.
Oh, certainly. Democrats are erupting in panic. Panic, huh? After reports President Trump is considering forcing banks to verify citizenship of all customers, including existing accounts. The fake news.
That's good. You don't have to read the rest of it. But Think about that. If he comes forward with that and saying you have to be a legal immigrant of some sort to access banking and payments, and that pretty much put a shutdown to a lot of the things of why the illegal immigrants are here. He said that they self-deported 3 million. I went and looked at the numbers, and the self-deport through the BBP1 app is only like 80,000, 85,000. So other things to think about, because remember, they peeled back the mass deportations and say, can we do it a little bit under the radar? So little things to think about as we're seeing some of this stuff on the positive side for the immigration, but there's some negative side also.
While it sounds positive, this is something that a lot of people who are in the crypto industry are looking at as absolutely negative, because what it does is it closes what's called leakage. And that's something that the central bankers want desperately. They do not want to have the ability to be able to find access to move value from one person to another person without their ability to control it through their banking structure. And that requires itself another deep dig into how the banking structure came to be where it is. So while it sounds positive because, we don't want immigrants to be able to have access to banking, the reality is it's not just immigrants, it's their ability to control you and to be able to turn your money off, because that's their ultimate plan. Yep. Is to make money a situation where they can control you. Remember the three avenues of control: religion, money, and military. That's your three pillars.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the 3 sheesh cells.
Demolition man.
Exactly. Secretary of State Mark Rubio has imposed a $15,000 fee on visa applications from a dozen additional countries. including Africa. So not only if you're an HB1 visa dude and you want to come over, you got to pay that $100,000 deal. This one here, you just want a visa to come over and hang out. I believe they're going to ask for money up front. So no IOU or I'm going to borrow it or come here. You pay your $15,000 fee. You come here on a visa temporarily, hang out for a year or so, you leave. We're going to give you your money back. So I think those are positive things that are happening, to be honest with you. And the 17th was the day for the Haitians that had their temporary protective status pulled. So yeah, they're loading up planes out here and shipping them right out of the country because there was no court order to stop any of this mass deportations. So yeah, this did happen, and they're moving people out right now to Minneapolis. So that is happening also. So there are big things that are happening and nobody stepped in front of. So people are moving.
Interesting because as we're focusing on this Iran war, we are seeing previous narratives and previous go attempts actually happen. So whether it's 80,000 less illegals or even more than that, that's less votes that the Dems have for the midterms in 2028, and they're losing their base because they're all being deported. So this is great to hear.
And if they get the voter ID and somehow and be able to restrict voting, I think the Democratic Party could be done in the voting districts. But again, Democrats and the crazy hair ladies, they like to show up and they like to vote. They might be able to pull it off. And also as a reminder, TSA is obviously not being paid. They're on their second week. 10% of the workforce called out. And that's when we start having problems. And I have no idea why they had to shut down the entire airport of Colorado. Yeah, Denver airport. The whole thing got shut down for like 3 hours because they didn't have power. And they do have that weird underground bunker with the weird horse out in front of it. I'm just saying, I'm not saying anything weird, but it could be a possibility out there. But we are seeing outside of that particular area here, flight restrictions, especially in Texas. People sleeping on the floor. They can't get people on the planes fast enough. Overbooking. It's an absolute nightmare for TSA right now. So good luck to them. Yeah, people are saying I agree. That's a creepy place that is out there. Here's another one here that we want to get into, Mr. Space Shot. I'm going to have you read this one here in a little bit because, again, we're going to point fingers anywhere that the truth goes, and these are little things you should be paying attention to. Face mute. Hello? Did I lose everybody?
I'm here. Space Shot?
Okay, I'm just making sure I wasn't by myself itself. All right, we'll keep going. I'll read it. U.S. government has the 3-year-old startup at $260 million loan, the largest Pentagon loan of its kind ever. And the presidential son had already invested in the same company months before the check was actually signed. The company is called Vulcan Elements. The goal is actually legitimate. They want to build the largest rare earth magnet factory outside of China, right here in Johnson County, North Carolina, and basically goes into how much money they spent, and they went through it, and he got a controlling interest over there, and then they got this big, giant loan from the government to basically start propping up the company, give them the things they need to go ahead and produce these magnets into a final product. The other thing I heard is the Pentagon's going with Pete Hegseth, looking for companies inside the United States that can facilitate different types of technology, semiconductors, whatever they can find inside the United States who's on a fast track that might need a little help to, take out our supply chain and keep it in the United States. They are spending some serious money figuring out who those people inside the United States and start to fund them so we could start building more of our infrastructure too on top of it. So a lot of deals are happening. Some people are saying this is them and the Trumps taking over their particular sector, blah, blah, blah. I could see cronyism on both sides, nepotism, whatever you want to call it. The whole corruption thing might be, it might not, you know what I mean? But again, people are in the right spots. They're making deals, and Trump is a deal maker, and there could be good parts and bad parts out of this, but these are some of the things that they're pointing out here. So I just want to bring it to you guys. All right, keep going. You guys are scaring me like there's nobody else here.
Tron, Space Shot, are you still here?
Yeah, I'm just listening. Okay. Go ahead.
Also got here, these bullets are made from the surplus of zinc From the company that always made the U.S. Lincoln blanks for the U.S. Mint, today's penny is 95% zinc and 2.5 copper plating. They're dumping on bullet manufacturers here. So if you want some raw metal at a really cheap price, because we're not producing pennies anymore, they're turning them into bullets. So, yay.
That makes sense. I mean, a bullet is like 20 cents a round now for those 9mm. Absolutely insane. So, and keep your pennies, guys. Pennies before 1982 are worth like 5-6 cents. This is why they're eliminating them. So go to your banks, make an order, keep them, go through some rolls like I do with my kids. It's an event. It's fun. And it teaches them a little bit of wealth management.
So what do you think, Tron? We just didn't change the interest rate due to war. Is that good things, bad things? Anything you want to put in there about the economy and the weird roller coaster ride we've seen lately?
Well, like that's what it is. I mean, Americans, since I think the pandemic, have been accustomed to the roller coaster of everything: emotions, finances, economy, even like, the narrative keeps changing so quickly. So if we're going to pay a little bit more for gas in the next few weeks, fine. I mean, even during Liberation Day, boss said there's going to be a little short-term pain for that long-term pleasure. And this is what it's all about, guys. This is what boss has inserted himself into this 16-year plan, is to, keep our future bright for our children, because we don't have a country unless we have our Constitution in force. And number two, we don't have a country unless we can sort of be independent from the rest of the world. And, there's going to be a little bit of conflict here and there. There's going to be rising prices of this and that. But at the end of the day, long term, long game, we're going to be okay. So, even my father back in the day said I think he bought his first house at like 12-13% mortgage. And, being an immigrant from another country, that's like the American dream. You come here, you work hard legally, you pay your taxes, you learn English. That's the first thing he did. And then you buy a home and a car and you start your nuclear family, you go on vacations and you do that whole deal. But Americans are resilient. And I think, we proved ourselves over this many years. So throw it at us and we're going to figure it out at the end of the day.
Yeah. When house prices used to be at least normal. That's out there.
120 grand for a ranch. I mean, that was like 10-20 years ago by me, but now it's just ridiculous how much it went up.
Yeah, here, read this for everybody.
We're excited to announce the Situation Room by Polymarket is coming to Washington, D.C., the world's first bar dedicated to monitoring the situation. How do I go there?
Yeah, so you don't have to watch the pizza place anymore down the street. You will just hang out at the bar in D.C. at Polymarket. Oh, it seems like a scam to me on some of those things that we're seeing
it's
out
just
there.
Gambling. Again, the Biff Tannen, Back to the Future Part 2. I mean, come on.
Exactly out there. If anybody was wondering what was happening with Canadian province projected to schedule a referendum to lead Canada this year, could become the 51 state, has a 55% chance. So that thing is still ongoing as they talk about it now. It might not be Canadian. It just might be the one province over here that everybody was voting on that controls most of the assets out there. But Pierre, whatever his name is, that has that famous quote talking to the reporter eating the apple, was on Joe Rogan a couple of days ago, and he said that he's pushing to become prime minister over there, and he wants to unlock all the energy that they have in the country itself and be on par with the United States and Venezuela and everybody else, which hopefully they can get to, but not with their bureaucratic empire. You think ours is bad? Go to Canada. I don't know how Kerry Perry ended up with him.
Oh, a gag. Well, I mean, dude, they're under the same thing. They're under the UK, just like Australia is. Same spiel, and many other little island nations.
Yeah, we're never getting a new California. We'll get a new Texas before we get a new California. I'll put it that way. Oh, what else did I have right here? Read this for everybody, Mr. Space Shot.
Extremely unexpected filing just popped up on my RSS feed. I need one of those. A DOJ lawyer has entered an appearance in the 35-year-old case against BCCI, the bank that the CIA used to launder monies in the 80s. This is the first filing in the case in over a decade. I have no idea what it means. What the hell? Hold on. Wait, what is that? District of Columbia Appearance of Counsel. Robert Maxwell's bank, Ghislaine's dad. That's the bank. But what's the case?
I don't know. I didn't get a chance to go look at it. I was just something I was going through that they were laundering money back in the 80s. I don't know, into or out of the system, but it popped up on the bank feed, at the court feed. So I'm just sharing it with you guys. It's got a new date on it and everything, 3/16/2026.
I'm on it.
So that's something I'm going to watch and see if we can put together more information about it. Check in with Congress really quick over here. Epstein lawyer Daryl Dika, I guess, likely perjured himself repeatedly in today's deposition, says Dave Min. I don't know why Dave Min came out and gave a press conference, but they are interviewing the lawyer over here, and he basically, I think it's very likely he perjured himself over and over and over again. What that really means and his comments about talking about it, I'm not sure, but it's something you should be paying attention to. But he said he had no knowledge of any girls or women. So we're going to find out.
Okay. What if that was the plan, though? Think about that. Like, we know about the children, the trafficking and all that, but then certain individuals were there, maybe not even knowing any part of that aspect, and they just saw him as a businessman. Through business, you meet people. Hey, you got to meet this guy over here, and then all of a sudden, years later, they find themselves in this trap, kind of like what Boss was back in the day. Oh, Boss has been in the Epstein files so many times, blah blah blah. Yeah, but for what reason? So again, whether or not they manifest this list or not doesn't necessarily incriminating evidence and whatnot. So this is what we're waiting for. Those Q drops where phones were allowed in and camera photos. So we're not even halfway through this yet. But the fact that it's still part of the news is just fascinating and extremely important.
Yes. Oh, as an update to the no power at the Colorado Denver airport, Hard Knocks PhD says Colorado wins and the power company Excel Mountain Towns have no power for a week. Wow. That's a pretty big area to be able to take down an entire airport where they have to close it.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense at all.
Generators over there? And Hulk, that thing said, just kind of like you were saying, that bank in that lawsuit, the Ghislaine Maxwell thing, says the Bank of Credit and Commerce International was a massive international bank operating in 70 countries, 1970s to 1991. U.S. government charged BCCI being essentially a global criminal enterprise disguised as a bank. That's the Cliff Note versions of it. Money laundering, cartels, terrorists, corrupt officials, fraud, bribery, corruption, illegal ownership of banks, all sorts of good stuff.
Sounds like U.S. government. Mr. Space Shot, read this for everybody.
We're supposed to say that out loud. Ooh, who's that creepy-looking, pasty-looking dude? Reminder, this pasty-looking man, Judge Arthur Engoron, and Letitia James claimed Mar-a-Lago was worth between $18 million and $27.6 million. Forbes just valued it at $650 million, 36 times what they claimed. They scammed just to get Trump on fraud. They both belong in prison. And dude, we were showing it back then when, we had a listing of the homes for sale. And let's say the whole screen was one neighborhood. Well, the top left corner was Mar-a-Lago, right? And then the one across the street was hundreds of millions of dollars. And that was basically complete BS, and everybody knew what it was at the time. And even they had pre and post estimates of what it was worth, and it's nowhere near either of these two pasty people said.
She's not pasty, though.
But he's very pasty, so he makes up for the paste in both of them. Very chalky, very pasty.
Oh, you're so wrong. What else do we got for you here? Okay, so Solomon's been on a run, dude. I don't know exactly where to peer from him because he seems to get a lot of insider information, whether it's about the election stuff. What else did we have about the Mar-a-Lago raid, the intercepts from Ukraine and Iran, the so-called, what'd they say, international thing that happened with Trump's assassination in Butler. A lot of things had come out. So, I mean, he's been giving us good information. I like what he gives out there, but we haven't seen any action on it. And I kind of wanted to ask you guys, where do you think we sit? We've got more than enough corruption information and all those sort of things, and we're kind of waiting for the president to be open and allow some of the bad guys to go to jail here finally on some of these things. We did find out today that Comey has a subpoena. That's along with the other 150 people that were subpoenaed inside Judge Cannon's courtroom down there in Florida itself. So this is nothing new, but he did get announced today that he was being subpoenaed into this, but there's a lot more going on down in Florida with the other 150 subpoenas along with it. So I don't know if you guys were tracking any of that.
Well, yeah, just the one that you had posted, or you had mentioned a little while ago from the Washington Post. I thought it was interesting that they said Comey subpoenaed in a grand conspiracy case against Trump. And so, and so it says Comey has been subpoenaed as part of a sweeping federal investigation into what Pam Bondi called a strategic use of legal systems that protected Democrats from criminal scrutiny while targeting Republicans. The subpoena is one of more than 130 issued in the case, which is expanded over the last year to include a wide range of former officials who served under Democratic administrations, including Joe Biden, former presidents Joe Biden and Barack Hussein Obama.
Yeah, that's the clip that I was looking for. MSN had brought forth the information, and they were talking about the intelligence, Clapper, Brennan, all the way up to the line, that they had alluded to that this is going to end up in Obama's lap. If it makes it there, I don't know, but they're the ones that had mentioned it in regards to Spygate and them going to Mar-a-Lago to go find the binder about a Crossfire Hurricane, all that sort of stuff out there coming out. So that's where I want to leave that. Anybody else want to throw anything in there, Tron, or anybody?
Well,
actually, all right, next clip.
Only one thing I'll add is didn't he say like we're gonna have a bunch of days where we're gonna have a bunch of released like D-class documents coming, and that was like within the last week, I think. And he's like, yeah, we should probably get them all out by like next Friday. But to your point, I've not seen said documents.
Yeah, and we got DNI over there. It's supposed to come out with the election stuff, whether it's Venezuela, Dominion, all those sort of things out there. But we are getting more information that China was involved. They're having payments from the money coming back into the Democratic Party. So they were taking USAID money. They have emails that they were pulling it back in and going to file it right back into the Democratic Party. So that's happening out there. Chris Krebs lied to the American public for 6 years and knew the Iranians breached the election systems in 2020. And stole, what they say, 100,000 identities. Not enough to flip an election, but to definitely make an issue inserting voting districts inside states. So I think China, Iran, we had talked about this before, being all over some of these things out there. So again, more of this information coming out that we knew 6 years ago.
Yeah, well,
right?
to your point, dude, yeah, we've known about this. And actually, Gateway Pundit actually reported on this in 2024. And they're kind of, rebranding. I mean, I think I dropped this to you, but they revamped this even yesterday. I think it was when they did it again. And then if you actually click onto that, it tells you like, oh, this is a case from 2024, or going back a few years that was unsealed already. So it's weird reporting, but maybe they're bringing it up because of the Iran angle. I don't know.
Well, John Solomon's the only one that I could find that is talking about China and Iran connections in the election, because DNI is not saying anything. And this confirms what Gateway Pundit's been saying, because they started coming up again with the Iranians and all those sort of things. So it seems to keep coalescing all together. And is this what they're going to need to push the SAVE Act across the finish line? Maybe, if they show how bad it is.
Yeah, and Hulk, doesn't it seem like it's, to your point again, things that we've discussed and we've been reporting on for years, like then you had like Mike Benz come in and Taibbi, and it's stuff that, again, we'd already been reporting on for years, but then it was like, oh, this big epiphany, and oh, now everybody's accepting it as real. And I think that's like the whole, repeats are necessary aspect of this. Maybe they keep repeating it to keep it fresh on people's minds, but like you said, we've covered this stuff ad nauseum, and it's like only now, and I do see people being more receptive to it now than they were a few years ago. So maybe that's what it was. The people weren't, ready to accept it, or, believe Orange Man really wasn't, bad.
I agree with you 100%. It's whose story you actually want to believe. What else do we got? Chief Justice Roberts tells him he's ignoring the real problem with respect to Chief Justice Roberts, who are complaining about the temperature while ignoring the fire, because Trump's been putting the screws to him, saying, hey, can you do something about some of these rogue judges and magistrate judges that are making these rulings that are trying to overthrow your decision making from the Supreme Court? And basically he's saying, I'm not going to do anything and we're going to leave it alone. That's pretty much what I got. He thinks Trump's turning up the temperature too much because he's screaming at Roberts to do something, which is normal.
Right. We've gotten too normal with that. But yeah, I mean, again, it's with many different topics. We've seen this, right? Election, or, people being removed from the country. It's like, oh, Trump's going to do this. Oh, no, you got some jerk off judge in Shakoima or whatever, make up some town in West Nowhere, Idaho, and says, yeah, you know what? We're going to stop this. And that should not be the case.
Yeah, like the one judge that said all the work that Carrie Lake did for Voice of America needs to turn it back on, just like a light switch, and put everything back the way it was.
Yeah, like make sense of that.
Nobody's, yeah, you can't facilitate any of that, so it's pretty crazy out there. So other things to paying attention to. We did have the whole cast of characters over here. We could see Cash, DNI, we got CIA there, and then took a couple of military guys as they're all giving testimony on a lot of different things, just not Iran. Here, CIA John Radcliffe says President Trump is in favor of a clean FISA renewal. We all knew how much of a victim of the FISA stuff here, but this is him saying that Trump's okay, leaving it the way it is. We're going to sign it on for the 702 and the 302s. We're just going to keep going as business as usual because I guess it's good for his administration to use against the bad people and not the previous administration to use it against his people. Anyways, I'm just throwing that out there.
Nothing's ever going to get fixed in that respect until, right? They can say anything they want. Like, oh, if you get caught doing this, you're going to get this, right? But nobody is worried about the consequences of doing that because clearly they did, they ran roughshod over, you had people unmasking General Flynn, people out of Biden's office. How many people were unmasked during all this stuff? It was just bananas, right? And so when they don't feel like if you have any, if you don't feel like there's going to be any justice or negative repercussions for you, then why would you be scared to do something like that again?
Yeah. And also remember this week, the FBI came out and said, yeah, we buy public information from third parties, so we don't have to ask subpoenas from government or anything because we're buying out on the open market. That's coming out from them. So just to put that out there. Mr. Rdoc, are you still here?
Yep, just pulling clips. What's up?
Do you want to do Kent stuff now? Or you want to save that by yourself?
I'm still pulling that together. I'm not sure what information you got.
I'm going to leave it alone for right now, but I will put the two things. The only thing I'm going to talk about is after the resignation letter that Joe Kent resigns within an hour, he booked a tour on Tucker Carlson. And then we started having the internet light off with all these little posts going through talking about this said interview as soon as it did come out. And then this one is it. This is his Iranian regime right here was pumping these things out right here. So I'm just going to leave it at that. I'll let Rdoc pick that thing up in a minute because I want to talk about some other things. So we're just going to leave it right there at that point, and we'll get back to that particular deal. What else do we got? Yeah, more Radcliffe saying we're doing our job. Don't worry about it. I'm backing up the government as much as possible and whatever they need. Kash Patel says we've lowered crime and look at all the statistics I got and we're dropping this and that, overdoses and all those great things. Yeah, keep going, guys. That is out there. So, I mean, they're all there doing the slapdick deal, all those things. So, I mean, the game hasn't changed over there. Now, are we going to get Secretary of Homeland Security over here, Mark Wayne Millen over here nominated? I'm not entirely sure he's going to get nominated because it seems like half the government doesn't like him. And even we had our good friend, what's his name, Senator Ron Paul, totally lay into him so bad that the Fox News cut away. There is a reprise of him firing back at him. But then again, they've had a heated arguments back and forth. And he had come out and talked about, was I supposed to be beaten with my neighbor when I had my headphones on and I had to go to the hospital to crack ribs and all those sort of things. And just went totally to town with this one. And then Mullen comes back and says, basically, the guy that hit you in the back probably had a right for the way that you're deciding to do things in Congress. So, yeah, I understand his thought process. It's not something I would have done, but I understand why he came over and smacked you and said, basically put him down on both sides. So I don't think Mullen's going to pick up this nomination whatsoever, so I don't know exactly what to pull him. He does have a nice, heartwarming story over here that he does talk about his son at the 2020 election cycle had a brain injury and those sort of things, and Trump was the one that basically kind of helped him to it, was making phone calls every couple of days, talking to him, talking about his buddy, who was his son that's got brain damage and is a different person at this point. It does get really emotional on the stand when he does talks about it, showing the human side of who he is. But he is a badass and wants to kick indoors and does not want to play any of these games anymore. So that's good to see. I'm happy that he's on there. I don't think he's going to make it, though. Thoughts on any of this stuff?
Hulk, I'm not happy that you broke your arm, but I can understand it. I can understand climbing on a ladder. No, but like that's essentially what he said, right? Like he said, like, you know, I'm not saying I'm glad you got attacked, but I understand. And then when he said something about, which he didn't really go too follow through on me, something about your character, you know, something like your character is, you know, something of something he doesn't like, essentially. So yeah, it was kind of cringy too to sit there and listen to Rand Paul sit there for like 4 minutes. Oh, you're gonna apologize or not? Oh, okay. Well, apparently he's not gonna apologize. It's like, I'm gonna give you the opportunity. It's like, oh God.
It was ruthless, dude. It was ruthless, to be honest with you. It's the worst I've seen him do out there. So what else do we got? They did ask DNI officially, did you take voting machines from Puerto Rico last May? And she said, yeah, I secured them in the ODNI office, and we're taking a look at that. And that's building on top of her election stories that we've been waiting for like a good month and a half to come out. And is this some of the information that we're waiting for them to show the SAVE Act people that this is why we need to do it, because Iran this, China that, and then all the stuff we saw in between that. So we'll see. This came by the Newswire. Mr. Space Shot, read that for everybody.
We verified this is real? Okay. White House has officially registered the URLs alien.gov and aliens.gov. UFO files en route? I don't know how, but with all these damn things we're seeing flying around the skies, all these mystery meteors in the last couple of days is pretty. Have you seen these? I'm sure, right? I know I've dropped a few for you guys.
I got a clip for it somewhere.
What the hell they are, but there's a bunch of them.
Yeah, so they saying it's about illegals, maybe not, maybe UFOs. I don't know. As long as they don't give them citizenship, I'm okay with that. Keep them out.
Didn't even consider that, dude. Hadn't even considered that. Illegal aliens.
Yeah, exactly. So if anybody's paying attention, Nick Shirley ended up in California over here and verified what I was saying before, that Van Nuys, California has 16% of the entire Medicaid budget, just going to one little area with billions and billions of dollars out there. Videos of him going into trying to start a new convalescent home, and nobody wants to answer the door or help them out, even though there's like 700 of them registered at one address. And he's like, I just teach me how to do it. I want to do it myself. They won't answer the door. So this is going down. He also shows the pay for play in California for the homeless voting. We'll give you $10 if you sign here. You either get a free gift or $10, either way you want to take it. And they go through the whole thing. If you sign this one, I'll give you $2. You sign this one, I'll give you this much. It was pretty impressive, dude. Just sitting there signing for about 10 or 15 minutes. These guys can make $50 on a homeless guy.
A couple crack hits right there, buddy. Hell yeah. And yeah, it is disgusting to watch too. Just right out in the open too, like it's no biggie.
So this is pretty bad on that side. So I threw this little funny out there with Nick Shirley out there. Might as well go for it. So we got to make a little funny on it. So have we seen any arrests out of Minnesota? No, nothing in California. The fraud is way worse in California. We're still waiting for actions out there. So just a little bit of justice on one of these 20 things. I mean, I got 20 things off the top of my head that they could pick anybody up, but we're not here yet. And I'm not sure what they're waiting for, but patience is a virtue, I hope, as we get there. So some of the things that are going on out there.
Best things in life come to those who wait, they say. I think that was a Heinz commercial. I could be wrong.
Exactly. Ninth Circuit rejected California state bid to circumvent the Supreme Court's landmark bill about parental rights. So yeah, no kidnapping kids and chopping body parts off anymore. And they tried to say, no, don't do it. And they're like, sorry. So Ninth Circuit stepped up to the plate, which I'm thoroughly surprised. Also, Democrats have historic upset in California as the governor race. There were two Republicans who are going to probably go right to the runoff, screwing all the Democrats. And also, what's his name? Fartwell. I don't know what they're doing with him. This guy sounds like a Gavin Newsom. So I'm just going to give you just a little bit of this in the beginning. And I'm like, dude, that sounds like Gavin Newsom.
What do you think was a misstep of Governor Newsom?
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't accept the premise that there is like missteps. I think he's put some down payments, or for me, as a sports guy, everything's a sports analogy. I think he's gotten us pretty far down the field on mental health with what he did on Prop 1 and also on housing. And it's my job now to get us across the goal line. And so that's what I'm going to do on mental health, is to continue to expand mental health services understand the difference between, the severely mentally ill and the severely addicted, and that they need different
the whole hand movements and all that reminds me of Gavin Newsom. Am I on crack, or does that remind you of Gavin Newsom?
Yeah, it's almost like the same playbook, right? And again, talk about mental illness. Trump derangement syndrome will be in some sort of a manual in the future. Watch. It's happening. California will be the first.
They need to come out with a pill or something, or not a shot. That would probably be bad, but a pill for those things. Go ahead.
I was just say, you need to make sure this guy does not win, because you know what this guy's aspirations are, right? As much as we'll know it'll never happen. But God forbid that guy ever wins the governor of California and then runs and wins for president in the future. Like, I don't think that can be possible. But please do what you can to make sure. I think he's toast anyway. But
okay, if you wanted to pick a president, you had a choice between Gavin Newsom and Fartwell. Which one are you picking?
Oh God, I'm taking a bullet off the dome.
Which one is Rdoc picking?
Let's go light a fire in my bedroom, because pretty much have the same result.
Neither.
Neither.
If A, B, or C, neither. Sorry, I'll stay home.
Just to point this out, that we don't also waste money on California high-speed rail. We have a specially built crossroads across the freeway, so animals can basically traverse this particular freeway. And they said it's going to be like $30 million. They spent $114 million. They're 6 years behind and still not be used by any animals whatsoever. You can't even get on top of it, but it's decorated.
How could they get up
you
there?
Put like something? Yeah, how are they going to get? The birds are going to love it, but other than that, and why would you want to attract animals towards a highway? Hey, deer, all kinds of weird animals, animal kingdom, don't cross down there, cross over here, there's a bridge.
It's their migratory thing, and they need to go to the other side to where all the mountains and the stuff is. So instead of all these animals getting hit by cars, cougars, and deers and killing people, they said, we're going to build a bridge for like a shitload of money, and then they'll go over the top of it, but we haven't finished it in like 12 years. Sorry.
Like that train, right? Like that train that went nowhere.
Train to nowhere.
Oh, God. Exactly.
Some plywood down there, you know what I mean? Let them go across. It'd be fine.
So just to tip into the commercial real estate market, as we can see, just in Denver itself, you could see a lot of these properties are down 80, 70, 70%, 65%, who are all being sold, were sold for $66 million. They're $27 million. So we're seeing the real estate market take a dive in the commercial side itself, because nobody's renting any of these buildings out here yet. And then Andrew Yang called it the effing, because he says we're not going back to offices whatsoever. Says the CEO of a publicly traded company told me directly, we're firing 15% now, another 20% in 2 years, another 20% after that. There are 70 million white collar workers in this county. Yang predicts 20 to 50% of those jobs are going to be gone within a few years. The low end of the market is 14 million people. The entire 2008 crisis wiped out. So as we get rolling into some of these other stories, these are some of the things that they're pointing out, because, again, if you want to become a lawyer, now is not the time to do that. They did see an increase of lawyers this year by 21%, but the way AI is going and the way the law firms are going, they're like, if I spent $500,000 on some sort of lawyer to go do all this work to get it done, and it might take him weeks, I can go feed it to this AI and it comes back in 20 minutes with the same type of accuracy as a lawyer that we paid weeks to go do all this stuff. So it's coming up pretty quickly, guys.
Well, Hulk, I really just wish there was some, show out there that was been telling people for years, you got to watch out what you're doing for a job, and that AI is going to come, steal your jobs. And I definitely wouldn't work as a paralegal. Like, if you're going to do into law, maybe a lawyer, but paralegal, ChatGPT. So what say you? But there's still a lot of problems with that. Gotcha.
Yep, read all this for everybody. We got 2 pages we're going to go through quickly.
Okay, Tuki, do you understand what happened in the last 24 hours? A Chinese lab made AI 25% cheaper and gave it away for free. OpenAI charges you $200 a month or worse. A robot got arrested in China, not shut down, arrested, catching charges before GTA 6 dropped. JP Morgan told Meta to fire 20% of staff. Meta did it that night. The stock went up, but 14,000 people lost their jobs and Wall Street clapped. Elon poached the engineers who built Cursor and said SpaceX will, quote, far exceed everyone in AI. XAI is paying Wall Street bankers to teach AI how to replace Wall Street bankers. They're taking the money. Jensen said NVIDIA will hit $1 trillion in revenue by 2027, lost $600 billion in January, and recovered it in 2 weeks, then named his price. OpenAI gave AI agents the power to spawn other AI agents. The AI now hires its own employees. Man has put a full AI agent on your desktop. Every $15 a month SaaS tool just became obsolete. An AI CMO launched that replaces your entire marketing team for $99 a month. Your social media manager, SEO guy, content writer, all of them for $99. Dude, I don't have a content writer. Wait, all right, I need to look into that.
And then read this one at the top.
Zuckerberg killed the metaverse after burning $80 billion on cartoon avatars nobody used. Sam Altman took $13 billion from Microsoft and sold OpenAI's cloud to Amazon for $50 billion. Microsoft just found out they funded their own competition. Anthropic made an AI that takes orders from your phone and does your work while you sleep. X dropped the dislike button and a mute entire countries button in the same week. I didn't see that. YouTube asking you to flag AI slop is just Google getting 2 billion people to train their next model for free. 93% of U.S. jobs can now be partially done by AI. Same week companies started giving the weakest raises since 2008. Apple started rejecting vibe-coded apps from the App Store. Vibe-coded apps? I don't know what that is. Is that a certain way to code vibe? I have no idea.
Yeah, they do vibe coding and all that sort of thing. Yeah, go ahead. It's you have to look it up.
They're taking the money. So that a mystery AI model appeared on benchmarks beating everything. Developers think DeepSeek is quietly testing their next weapon. Bloomberg asked, quote, is the AI bubble about to burst? The same day, NVIDIA said the chip market will hit $1 trillion. One of them is dead wrong. UK government backed down on AI copyright after artists revolted. First government to flinch. The Fed said rate hikes are back on the table and blamed AI data centers for making inflation worse. And it's only Wednesday back then. See you tomorrow. It'll be worse. If you're not following, Okay.
Goldman Sachs said $450 billion in AI invest that contributed to basically zero of U.S. economic growth. So that's Goldman Sachs said, all that money you guys just spent, we don't see any return on any of this. Uber drops 1.25 billion on Rivian to build 500,000 robo-taxis. Drivers who built the company are now replaced by cars. And remember, they don't have a factory or parts to do this. Jeff Bezos started raising $100 billion company to buy manufacturing companies. So he's buying manufacturing companies that make parts for technologies. So then he can go ahead and replace them with robots as they come down the line. This is a huge infrastructure that he just turned on and he's going to buy. DoorDash launches an app that pays people to film themselves doing chores, not for content, for AI training data. So robots can learn to replace them. So you're at home doing your dishes, you wear a body cam and they watch you. OpenAI bought Astro, the open source Python tool that millions of developers love, bolted it to their coding agent, and the community is furious. So that's where we're going to end it right there on those guys. Just little things to pay attention to as we start. Fortune 500 updates the AI price tag to about 4.5 trillion, 93% of the U.S. jobs vulnerable to disruption. So, yeah, AI is coming, guys.
It be coming, man.
ChatGPT is having OpenAI. Read this really quick. We'll do the first paragraph and we'll go on to the next one.
Walmart scrapped OpenAI's instant checkout after customers kept getting wrong items in their carts and conversion rates came in well below Walmart's own channels. Now they're embedding their in-house Sparky chatbot into ChatGPT and Gemini instead. When you ask ChatGPT for paper towels, Sparky handles the search and processes the order. OpenAI gets a referral fee. Walmart owns the customer relationship. The new setup converts at 70% of Walmart.com's direct rate. Target reportedly turned down a similar OpenAI deal last year. Amazon hasn't touched third-party AI integration with Alexa.
Nothing yet. We'll see what else do we got. Rivian's going to take it in the shorts. I don't know how they're going to get their money. We'll skip that. Here, read this for everybody.
2/3 of data center power requests, quote, vanish the moment utilities ask for money, per WoodMac podcast. Quote, why 66% of interconnection requests disappear when utilities require long-term contracts and financial deposits. Spoiler, hyperscalers were rationally preserving their place in line when it was essentially free.
So they tried to basically, position themselves of buying these particular parts and not having any of it, and then trying to sell it to other companies and go, look, I got power here. We can go and put this data center together. And just like the hardware manufacturers and data drives and whatnot, they said, if you want 3 years, you need to pay up front right now, and then we'll put you on the list. And that's what the electric companies did. Instead of having all these people put their name on the list, it's put up or shut up, bring out your wallet, and we'll make sure you're going to get power. So that's what's happening. And they saw a lot of these requests from these fake AI data center companies disappear. So that's another thing out there. Oh, here's another thing. A University of Nebraska Lincoln engineer landed a $1.8 million Department of Energy grant to fix a surprisingly basic problem inside AI data centers. The electricity takes ridiculous inefficiently path before it reaches the chips. So when they're getting these big giant voltage coming into these data centers and they have to keep reducing it down to power the little computers on 12 volt and 5 volt and all the stuff they did, they're losing a huge amount of efficiency. So they're saying, we're going to give this guy the contract and we're going to go through and make it more efficient when we do these data centers. So it's just not basically eating up all the power, which is a positive thing. What else do we got here? Google signed a 20-year contract with DTE Energy for 1 gigawatt data center in Michigan, committed to a full cost of 1,600 megawatts and a new renewable 480 megawatts of battery storage. So Google's asking the power company, you make all the infrastructure, we'll pay for you to do it. Let's go get it regulatory done. So instead of Google coming out and trying to build all the infrastructure, do it all themselves, they're starting to partner with power companies and give me a timeline, how much you can offer out there, and how long we're going to do this contract for. And then we can sign you up and give you money. So we're just not going to output it ourselves. So which is the smart way to do it, as they increase the power capacity of the United States. Samsung's about to rip off the button on their second deal for their chips out there. So they're building a whole new second fab out there, and they're going to start building a lot of the stuff that Tesla needed. So good job for Samsung, and TSMC is also increasing their data footprint here also. So good things. Now this one's crazy. Read this for everybody, Mr. Space Shot.
Sure. Who's Justin? Oh, okay. Justin. Supermicro Computer SMCI co-founder charged with smuggling NVIDIA AI chips to China. What? $2.5 billion in servers diverted since 2024 via Southeast Asian shell company. $510 million worth of shipped in a single-month window, late April to mid-May 2025. Fake paperwork, dummy servers used to full compliance team. Co-founder Liao controls $464 million in SMCI shares. Arrested Thursday. One defendant, a fugitive, contractor relationship terminated. Stock minus 12% after hours. Southern District of New York, as we're getting very busy these last 8 years. Prosecution, no Commerce Department export license held. Southern District of New York, huh?
Yeah, Supermicron is a big company, and that's a shitload of money out there. Even though we know that they're under the import restrictions out there, and they can't have the newest chips and all those sort of things, and they're making their own chips and said, we don't want any of the NVIDIA stuff for a long period of time. They were still shipping it in through the back door. So that's interesting things to pay attention to. This just came out today, too, within a couple hours ago.
What are they doing? He's using it to replace his own chips, or
no? He was backdooring the NVIDIA chips into China when they were under import control. When the government said you can't bring those things in here, he did it anyways.
Oh, you toast!
You got caught. You got arrested in the United States. Also, you're talking about the AI slop and train the new YouTube out there. It had come out that Google did the CAPTCHA in 2009 to basically train its digital AI system way back then. So I just thought that was interesting. Big giant letter came out that we were all doing CAPTCHA to train AI way back when.
Dude, I had to do a stupid CAPTCHA yesterday to get into my Hotmail, and they have a new version, dude, and it literally took me like a minute to just even figure out what they wanted. It was literally like 5 lines, like a solar system and like the orbits, and they had a line and a number next to them. And like, dude, for 2 minutes I couldn't even figure out what they wanted me to do, and I'm like, what is this? And so this was just for Hotmail, dude. I had to put my phone number in, which they already had, which sent me a code. Then I clicked on the code, and then it let me do the CAPTCHA. And then it sent me another code after I did the CAPTCHA. But it was like you had to line up the number that they put with the image on the same orbit. And it was like, what the frig? They're getting pretty crazy.
Yeah, I just want to move the puzzle piece over, make it easy.
That would have been easy. Yes, that would have been good. This was like, what the hell?
Yeah, X has officially rolled out the dislike button. Again, it's going to be only for paid users, and it'll be on the comment section is what I'm hearing down here, not on the main thing over here. Why can't we get that button? That'd be, I think, very special.
That would be good, right?
Just a quick nose. We're going to do a little Cesar Chavez over there. Would you read the tweet here for everybody?
Julio Cesar Chavez? Oh, okay. Cesar Chavez and Dolores Huerta did not risk their lives so that a man who calls Mexican rapists criminals could become president. This tweet didn't age well.
So it turns out that Cesar Chavez is at the time in the 40s or 50s and 60s, I think it was. Anyways, he got a young girl pregnant who is still alive on her deathbed. She's like 96 or so. Telling the story about how she was pressured in and raped by this one, and he has two illegitimate children with them that are in their older age right now, and now everybody's backpedaling on everything that Cesar Chavez has done. They're trying to pull fundings and schools, names off the schools and stuff. It's getting pretty bad out there about the amount of sickness that was done inside this house and the raping of the underage kids and a whole bunch of things. It's absolutely nuts that this story came out. So she's still alive on her deathbed with the story and evidence to prove it.
That's bananas.
Isn't that crazy?
Those you're told to trust, right?
Yeah. And then, of course, Gavin Newsom's saying, oops, maybe I shouldn't have backed him up. And I read the article and all those sort of things. So that's on that. Here is your meteor thing that everybody was talking about. So there was another one that was out here over California. They're looking at it. There was a launch at Vandenberg in California. I'm not sure if it's this one or whatever, but one of these we're talking about out of these four was an actual space launch out of California. Do I think it's aliens? I'm not sure. The Ohio was definitely a meteor, blew up about 50,000 feet above the surface over there in Ohio, and I'm not sure about Turkey or Australia. So that's where I was at.
No, it's just Armageddon Part 2 with Ben Affleck and Aerosmith.
Did we see Die Hard on there? Was he on there trying to save the planet?
Yes, Nagatomi Plaza and Hans Gruber fell off of the comet.
All I know is I didn't get probed yet, so I'm a little upset still.
There's MSDNC talking about it's going to lead to Obama. What else did I have over here? Oh, I want to throw in this here. Space Shot, read this for everybody. Mandami's wife.
Come on. Wait, Mandami's wife used the N-word and mocked gay people? Democrats should be lining up to condemn this. Why are they so silent? So some person, is that her up top, Ramadi?
No.
I think it was the gay ass people from Instagram that finally motivated me to get off the internet. And then this person said, talking gangsta with my genius, Ramadi. And then, yes, that must be her, Ramadi. Hell yeah, my N-word. N-I-G-G-A. Super duper genius, excuse you. Hell yeah, my N-word.
Yeah, so Ramadi over on Instagram is trolling the gay people. So, yeah. I don't know where to put it. What did he say here over here on this side? He said something stupid.
It's where the mayor will use their power to reject Donald Trump's fascism, to stop mass ICE agents from deporting our neighbors.
The entire city is a walled maximum security prison.
Hell yeah.
The bridges are mined. The rivers are patrolled. And the United States Police Force has everything under control.
Escape from New York.
Escape from New York, the high adventure of the future.
Okay, we get past that one there. I had to make the one little funny out there. New York City is now spending more per homeless person, 81,700 than the median income for the state.
How the frig do you figure that out?
What's that?
You need to get rid of that button and never hit that thing again. Anyway, how do they figure that out, dude? How do they figure out that you're spending 81, or are they just putting that dollar amount and saying, yeah, we're going to
Divided by the amount of money that they spend per people that they have registered as homeless. And that's the number they came up with.
Bird. It's like, what, half that to put them in jail?
Remember, they can't find the $40 billion they spent on homelessness in California for 2 years. They just lost it. I don't know where it went. Where'd you spend it? Here, one little note right here. Here, read this for everybody before I kick it to Mr. Rdoc.
Remember this name, Buckley Carlson. This is J.D. Vance's deputy press secretary. Oh, stop sign, red flag. Tucker Carlson's son shared a post calling an Israeli shooting victim a Zionist false flag. Personally supports Nick Fuentes. J.D. Vance, this guy, huh?
Just saying. Just wanted to throw that out there that I didn't know that Tucker Carlson's son is working for J.D. Vance.
What is he, like 12? Jeez.
I don't know, dude.
It gets a little bit more deeper than that.
I didn't want to go too deep. You got more?
Tucker Carlson's dad.
Oh, yeah.
And,
CIA.
No, the FDD, the democracy movement, and the relationship between him and Kent is interesting.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
But yeah, these guys know each other.
Dude, how do you remember all this shit, Rdoc?
But he's
I don't know.
But he's talking crap about him, Rdoc. It's not a fake fight. Is it a fake fight? I mean, dude,
who's talking crap? Well,
Tucker's
so that you
all
raised
against the administration, right? Wink, wink.
Share your screen, Mr. Rdoc, by the way.
Oh wait.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna start. I'm not fully done with my stuff, so this is going to be on the fly. And I'm not sure.
That's fine. You always freaking do great on the fly. Are we doing commercial, by the way?
Yeah, I got a Rumble wallet.
And Sean dropped a $5 Rumble rent. Says no freeze bot here at Rumblebot. Yay! Okay.
No freeze bot.
I'm glad I got to that one right off the bat there. I have to do a full refresh. I'm gonna.
Off. You mute? Uh-oh. Did I lose Hulk or did I lose everybody? Tron? Uh-oh, I'm missing everything. What is going on here? Hold on. What is... Hello, hello? Hello, hello? What is going down? You guys hear me in the chat? You guys hear me? The hell happened? This is weird. I just lost everybody on Discord. Get back in. Hulk? Hulk? Hello, hello, hello? Why can't I hear anybody? This is crazy. I don't know what the hell's going on here. What in? Thanks, Debbie. Debbie's like, I can hear you. Thank you, Corvette. Yeah, I don't know what's happening. Let me do a refresh of the Discord and totally get rid of it. I don't think it shut down. Go. See what we got. Starting refreshing. Doo-doo. Hello, hello, hello. Apparently they can't hear me either. Let me see. Ron's back in there. Let's see. Rdoc jumped in, but I don't know if anybody can hear me or what the hell's going on. They can't hear me either, guys. This is weird. Okay. I'm gonna try to do Zoom, guys. Here, just give us a second. Never seen this happen before. Crazy. Apparently there's an issue on Discord itself. All the internet's working, but nothing on Discord is here. So I'm going into Zoom here, guys. Just a second. Right. Just in case it'll be okay. Get in. Deal was. Jim says I can hear everybody separately. Thank you, B More. Yeah, it's just super weird. Like, I had that issue where the internet went down for like an hour the other day, and I can see my son's over there watching the iPad, so he got internet still. Waiting for these guys to jump into the room. Of course, I. Go. This is just crazy. While this is happening, guys, I'll do a freaking Rumble Wallet commercial while they populate the room. I'm gonna take them a not joined for. Sent them all the invites. Voices didn't disconnected because you're connected at another location. Out. Okay, leave our doctor. Try that. Video check. Okay, good. Host has joined. We let him know. All right, so I'm waiting on Rdoc to let me in, guys. Now, what the hell? Room. Hello. Sorry about this, guy. Now Hulk's sending me a friggin' invite. Here we try this one. Let's try this one. Is this one working?
There he is. There he is. Yeah,
There he is. Can you get
Discord?
Tron? Yeah, Discord took a dump, dude.
Yeah, that's fascinating.
Already sent him invite. I'm gonna do a Rumble Wallet while you guys just Hulk. I don't know if you're ready to.
Yeah,
there it is. There it
yes, we're in. We're gonna do a quick Rumble Wallet. We're back up and running. Let me do a quick
Share your
refresh
screen
here.
to Rdoc.
Yeah, I can't until he does the host thing.
Oh, yeah. You know what? I'm just gonna make you host then. Let me put that over there on him.
I'm just sitting there. I'm like, hello, and then I see all of your guys have like an exclamation point in your name, and I'm like, don't tell me my internet went down again. And then
I
no, we
thought
can
the
hear
same
you.
thing. I thought
they,
the same.
They could hear us all separately. Like they could hear Tron on his, they could hear Hulk on his, and then me on mine.
All right. I got the thing up. I'm about to click Rumble Wallet. Are you ready, Mr. Space Shot?
Okay. Yeah. Clicky. Hopefully, I get an issue on this. Pull my hair out. Yep. Good to go.
Break for 30 seconds.
Okay, Usab, I need to relax there. Okay, guys. All right, guys. Guys and gals out there, here's a little inside scoop that many creators are talking about behind the scenes. It's actually one of the reasons I'm using Rumble. They made a way to super chat creators so we get paid immediately and without any fees. YouTube and Twitch take up to 50% of the fees when you tip the creators, and this method takes none. That's right, the platform takes 0 fees. I keep 100% of what you send me. You can super chat with Bitcoin, Tether USD, or even Tether Gold stablecoins. The tip will show up directly in the Rumble chat, which I will do my best to read. Of course I will. All you need to do is download the Rumble wallet on the App Store and send the tips to your favorite creators. You can head over to wallet.rumble.com, or you can download the app directly from the App Store. Seriously, what an amazing way to get rid of the middleman and help the creator economy. And shout out to Rumble for making this disruptive technology available. Boom.
So
for 30 seconds.
I am sharing this screen. I don't know if it's coming across. Plus, all our mics are hot. Like definitely very. The gain is turned up a lot. I can tell. So
You're pretty hot yourself there, Slugger. Ooh.
Can
Let me see.
Could I turn down my mic?
Well, you're going to be the only one talking, or mostly anyways here. So.
No.
Yes.
I don't know. I got too much to go through. We're not going to even get through it all.
Full screen. There we go.
I could bring it down a little bit. Does that sound better for you, Mr. Rdoc?
Back here.
How does he sound to you,
Yeah.
Shot?
I mean, it says as I'm in the green when I'm
fine.
talking over here on this side. Okay.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right.
Good to go, sir.
Could be just my earphones. All right. We'll just get it started here, and hopefully.
Yeah,
the
hold on.
volume-
I got to pull this out. I forget how to get the tab out.
And thank you guys all for bearing with us here. And please don't distract that from letting you guys click the thumbs up button. I swear it was Discord's fault this time.
Okay. All right. So
I think I got it.
Okay. All right. We're gonna start with some funnies because the AI is just going insane. And
Just
this
come
is-
come up on your volume a little bit yourself.
Okay. All right. I'm turned it up. Is that better?
You could still come up more. You're quiet to me.
I can't. My mic is turned max. I can maybe adjust the volume. Zoom.
You're good on my side, dude. Good.
Okay. All right. I'll try to. How about moving the mic closer?
No. I'm just going to turn you up inside the audio over. It's all the way up. So yeah, you're screwed.
All right. And how quiet is quiet? Maybe I'll talk louder.
You get up there, you're fine. You're in the yellow now, but when you're talking low, you're in the 30 to 35 decibels, so it's pretty quiet.
All right. Sorry, folks. Zoom time.
I could crank you up this way a little bit. You'll be fine.
Discord killed us. Okay. Iranian bots and media, whatever, are definitely having a field day with AI. And so don't take this as agreement or disagreement. It's just some of it's, it's funny. We'll take it as humor at this point in time, but let's go.
No. What?
Call Zelensky.
Oh, Mr. President, hello.
Zelensky, please help me to open the Hormuz Strait.
Sorry, Donald, you don't have the cards right now. You are not in a good position.
Okay. So we got Zelensky in the cards comment because of the recent request and offer that Zelensky has made, and we'll get into actual Donald Trump's response to that. But this one I thought was, hopefully we can start over from the beginning. Let me refresh this one. This one was creative, and somebody did a really good job. Hold on. Go.
We just bombed Iran, dropped hellfire on their head. Hold my trigger, now they're dead. MAGA, the perfect strike had just begun. White generals clean, Khamenei gone, we won. MAGA. Fake news is gonna cry when they report this strike first thing tomorrow. Carry on, 'cause it actually really matters.
Iranian Rhapsody.
I tell you,
it's I thought it was appropriate given our history with the song and back in the QNN and Patriot News days. All right, moving on to
If
the
you
next
know,
one.
you know.
If you know, you know. Yeah, may have to refresh this one too to start it over. And
this is Donala J. Ayat Trump speaking, inshallah. From now on, I am your new Ayatollah. To the Iranian people, Azadi, freedom is coming. Trust me. We're going to make Iran Kabir again. Your oil, beautiful oil, is safe with me. Wallah, nobody protects oil like Trump. Soon we celebrate with a big cello kebab festival. Everyone saying, mashallah, shukran.
Bob.
yeah, that's enough of that one.
Salam.
That's enough of that one. Okay, just this Iranian mocking media is what's going on. But then we started getting some of these
I need
ones.
links for those.
Okay, so there's one with just Putin and Trump, and I didn't post that one. Let me go ahead and start this one over again too. Stupid. Just stupid stuff. All right, and then Tron posted this one, so I'm not sure which one I should play. I've got Tron's post. Is one better than the other? Tron, do you know the original or should
do mine. I put
okay,
like an
okay.
hour into it.
An hour into it.
Japan and US are very good friends. But one question, why didn't you tell US allies in Europe and Asia, like Japan, about the war before attacking Iran? So we are very confused about we Japanese citizens. Well, one thing, you don't want to signal too much. You know, when we go in, we went in very hard, and we didn't tell anybody about it because we wanted surprise. Who knows better about surprise than Japan? Okay? Why didn't you tell me about Pearl Harbor? Okay? Hey, why didn't you tell me about Pearl Harbor?
Oh, dude, it's just like, harsh. harsh, man, harsh.
Just farted.
With the prime minister sitting right there.
She smiled. She thought it was funny.
Well, I don't know if she's. All right, so this I just threw in there. George Papadopoulos popped up. Still the most unimportant and unanswered question in Congress today, and this is Thomas Massey talking about Joseph Mifsud. Is the mystery man who started the Russia hoax? He's mentioned 89 times Mueller, but strangely not once in Durham's report. I want to know if Mifsud is associated with the Western Intelligence Agency.
Yes, we'd say yes.
This was awesome that this popped back up and that Papadopoulos reminded us, because this is, deep state intelligence, clandestine operations that we had done, and Mifsud's still mystery.
Yeah, just awesome. As a reminder, we're just going to sign off on the FISAs the way they sit right now. Just let it keep going.
This was interesting. So this is in response to the Supreme Court ruling on the tariffs, of course. And then, I picked this one up in response. Malaysia declared the U.S.-Malaysia trade deal null and void, not suspended, not under review, null and void. It's not on hold. It's just no longer there. So, and this is not unusual. We have renegotiations of this, of the trade deal based on the way the tariffs were being done. Being triggered by the February 20th ruling. So this is something that we should keep an eye on. The administration is closely keeping an eye on this because it is significant to some of the economic budgetary considerations of things that are part of the Make America Great Again movement, in terms of having the funds to do what we need to do, especially with Congress getting a request for $200 billion now to support the ongoing war, which would be about 20 days of funding based on their current spend. 20 days, 10 billion a week. Sorry, that's 20 weeks. Sorry, my bad. Depending on its current level of spending, it could increase and escalate.
Just as a reminder, we found out that when Rdoc got onto the Trump administration, they started the investigations of the 301s and whatever else they were going underneath the tariffs. So when they're saying there's no legal standing, they showed evidence that they started these investigations over a year ago, and they have to go with agreements and trade deals. And if they can't make a deal, then they go off to the next step. So it's just not brandishing all off right off the hip.
Right. Now, did you talk about this during the show? I don't.
Well, let's talk about the big thing, because we said 2 weeks ago that we were hearing that Susie Wiles was going to be out of the administration just after the midterms, is what we were hearing out there through the water cooler stuff. And then we see this show up over here that has the early stages of breast cancer, but you had mentioned that this is not new news.
No, it's not new. It's been known for all during her term. She's been under treatment for this for quite some time. So this is being released. This is being released now for a purpose. And I'll leave it there.
And Trump's support of Susie Wiles, and hope she gets a fast recovery and all those sort of things. So he did go and lift her up.
Yep. Okay. I don't care what Justin Amash has to say. But this piece here was the piece that was important. Now, Brendan Carr, who is the FCC chairman, and made this quote. And broadcasters that are running hoaxes and news distortions, also known as the fake news, have a chance now to correct course before their license renewals come up. The law is clear. Broadcasters must operate in the public interest, and they will lose their licenses if they do not. Frankly, changing courses in their own business interest, since trust in legacy media has now fallen to an all-time low of just 9%, and our ratings disasters. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, bottom line. One of the comments made, and that in the Kent Tucker Carlson interview, and this is something that is historically kind of a proven occurrence, is liberties, especially related to expression of speech, are one of the first things to go when wartime comes. And that's just something we have to be aware of, and we have to keep an eye on just how much civil liberties are being eroded in regards to this war. And
because criticism is good.
Yeah,
criticism is good. It's important, and it's important too. But quick, go back to that really quick, Rdoc.
Yep,
because I think it's important too that basically, what he's saying here too. The American people have subsidized this stuff. When a political, right there, go up a little bit. Go back. Go back.
Sorry.
I just want to read the last paragraph. When a political candidate is able to win a landslide election victory after, in the face of hoaxes and distortions, there's something very wrong. It means the public has lost faith and confidence in the media, and we can't allow it to happen, right? So I've been saying it for years that if you're going to be labeled yourself as news, then you should be held to a higher standard, where you should be putting things out accurately to the point where you should be, and I understand too that you're talking about the First Amendment and stuff like that. But when it comes to news organizations specifically, we should be able to turn on the TV and say, yeah, I know they're giving us the truth. But a lot of people don't feel like that, because we know it turned into a political hack show, essentially, all of the major medias.
Absolutely. And the media usage by a particular lobby is one of the points that was raised in the Kent resignation letter. But Donald Trump has been attacked by fake news media, by the deep state, by our CIA Mockingbird media that is in there, as well as foreign media. And it has not stopped, and it will not stop. And this is something that is one of the purposes for why we are the news now type of mantra, right? We, hive mind, we shouldn't accept anything on face value. You shouldn't accept anything we say on the show as face value. It's up to you to dig, meme, and pray, right? And so, but it's up to us as individuals. But when you start going down the slippery slope of passing laws, like some of the states have passed anti-Semitism laws, which if you say anything bad about Israel, you can be yanked. You can have your license removed. You can be taken off of. And actually, in some cases, prosecuted. And this is something that the UK has gone down the path of in relation to their rules about saying things about Muslims and all the immigrants over there. This is a slippery slope.
Just to prove his point, the UK went over and busted into somebody's house and arrested him for a username of something along Ching Chong, China. So they wouldn't kick down his door, put him in jail for that.
There's thousands and thousands of cases, and we'll talk about actually the UK. Matter of fact, we'll jump over there now because this is important. This is George Galloway, of course. He's been very outspoken. But
we have enjoyed the right to trial by jury for 800 years until today. The British government abolished the right to trial by jury because juries were regularly returning not guilty verdicts in the kind of cases that the Keir Starmer cabinet, almost all of them awash in blood-soaked shekels, bought and paid for by the Israel lobby, could not allow to go on. After all, they have in excess of 2,000 people awaiting trial on terrorism charges for holding up a cardboard placard. If they all got a trial by jury, not a single one of them would be convicted, compounding, heaping humiliation on the British government that foolishly ordered the police to arrest them. So they put up the Deputy Justice Secretary in Britain to announce that there would be no more jury trials in Britain. Who is the Deputy Justice Secretary? A woman called Sackman, whose grandfather was an Israeli terrorist, land and house thief in occupied Palestine. Where did Sarah Sackman get her legal training? You're not going to believe this one. She got it in Israel. She's an Israeli lawyer, and she's the Deputy Justice Secretary in Britain, and she has just abolished the ancient Magna Carta right to trial by jury.
Yeah.
We have enjoyed.
We definitely don't want that in our country. But Brendan Carr's comments could, and the use of big tech, and the reason big tech exists is to control what you can and can't say for deep state purposes. We have to be wary of this, and we have to be cautious about this. That's what I'm trying to propose.
And that's the best part is that, we can learn from this. So the UK, Australia, all these countries are failing, and America is coming in and again solidifying our constitutional rights on America's 250th. So we have to have examples of this infiltration. And if it's not in these other countries, it'll be in New York, Chicago, and elsewhere. And remember, Boss said America will never be a socialist country. So maybe to protect our freedom of speech, we have to have it attacked. And we've seen it attacked several times. But now we have to set that precedent where, you can't, there's a drawn line in the sand. You can't step over that. We have laws for this reason. And these other countries are just completely skipping it. So again, America can lead by example and use these countries as an example that we can't ever have this in our country ever.
We, the people, it's all about we, the people, and leaders on both sides of the aisle, left and right, can act in ways that are in contravention to we, the people, because sometimes the majority is what you want to hear. Well, our constitutional rights are based on giving the minority rights, and that's something that we can't lose sight of. Otherwise, we can slip down the path of dogmatic response into autocracy, like states of China, North Korea, etc. And UK is going down that path right now. So those contrasts.
Yeah, we're smarter than the 1984 guys, right?
Should be, but we need, and I think to Rdoc's point though, we the people, just like he said, we the people need to get louder about that. Like the states that they've already done this in need to make a spectacle of this and tell people and be loud about it that it's not okay to do this here in the United States where we have the Constitution, right? So we need to get very loud about that. And I've said, in the last few weeks as well, remember that old saying, there'll be a time when they won't be able to walk down the streets? Well, we need to make it like that. And I don't mean we need to be violent, but we need to be loud to the point where we know what these people did, right? And we need to make them know that what they did is not good. And again, not talking violence, but don't let them have a moment of peace. Keep your hands off them, but don't let them have a moment of peace.
Yeah, a strong central government can be an enemy of the people, and this is what Leviathan by Thomas Hobbes was basically all about. So this could lead to people specifically going out there to try to say things, have a law that might be unjust or unconstitutional be breached, and then raise it through the court system to a judge. That's the way our system is supposed to work. We'll see how it works out. This is the last thing I have in my start bucket here, which I thought I didn't really have a place to stick it. And this is by Redhead Libertarian. I think it was reposted by Blue Sky. And we all remember Blue Sky. So this long list of people that should be drafted if there's some sort of a ground war or something like that to go fight over in Iran. And I just thought this list was kind of funny in some ways as you walk through this thing. Someone who want to read a couple or just
I was going to ask you if I
go
could.
ahead.
It says,
Go ahead.
Since no one will see this anyways, here's a list of everyone I think should be drafted. Number 1, Mark Levin. We need the enthusiasm you bring to X on the front lines. Drafted. Lindsey Graham. I hear you want to ask South Carolinians to send their sons and daughters to fight for Israel. Well, homie, you first. Drafted. Ben Shapiro. You and your eyebrows say this is the single greatest foreign policy move of your lifetime. You should see it from the front lines. Legend. Drafted. Every single person who has been telling Trump he is, quote, the non-Jewish Messiah. Yes, we know about that. Congratulations on cracking the code. You win front row seats to see Cyrus usher in your apocalypse. Drafted. Anyone saying Charlie would have wanted this? Bro, you're as evil as they come. But F you, you're now drafted. Bibi Netanyahu, I command you to rise from the dead or wherever the hell you are and be drafted. Everybody in the government who supports this war, where is it? And all their firstborn sons drafted. People who believe in abortion is healthcare. Guess what? War with Iran is healthcare now. Drafted. The history retarded who think George Washington would want war with Iran. LOL. You're too dumb to insult. Drafted. Men who compete in women's sports. Iran is the women's sports now. Drafted. All right, I think that's good. Pundit. Last 3 months of Jeffrey Epstein. Did it say? Oh, right there. Every pundit who destroyed their credibility over the last 3 months defending Jeffrey Epstein. Ew, drafted. The corpses of Dick Cheney and John McStain. Drop them in Iran. They should see this. Drafted. Okay.
John Bolton, vegans, Antifa. I mean, it's just an on and on. It goes on
Cyclists?
for several posts.
The $7,000 club.
Yeah, right. 7,000. Dude, she went on a cyclist. Like, damn, you don't like people on bikes that much?
It's just furries. Get in the box, or you're anti-Semitic. That's stupid. Just stupid. Okay, that's it for start. Let's get into Scott Bessant. Or Steve Bessant, whatever his name is. So this started the week. This is how the week started.
No, the president is in great spirits. The Iranian mission is proceeding well ahead.
So let's back up. Let's back up because I think this is the full clip. And this is Newsmax. Yeah. Oh no, this is the body language guy. Okay, we'll play him after that. Let's start with this one. I think. Oh no, they're saying this isn't it. So it was this one, and maybe you just have to restart it. YouTube Shorts. Okay.
Refresh
this. Yeah.
This is really wild. He gets pulled off. He's doing the interview. He gets pulled away. And listen to his voice at the end. His voice at the end is the most important part of this whole video. Something bad just happened. I don't know what, but something bad just happened.
I listened to you on the...
The president wants you. Sorry, the president wants you very much.
Okay. No problem at all.
Just a minute, hour and a half later.
You surely, Mr. Secretary.
You can work that in.
Mr. Secretary, I have to say, it's a first, I'm sure a last as well, that an interviewee's been pulled away to go to the Situation Room. How was the president? Was he stressed? No, the president is in great spirits. The Iranian mission is proceeding well ahead of schedule. And I have to tell you, Wolf, that I have a teenager who's considering military service, and I could give this team my highest compliment from President Trump to the head of the Joint Chiefs to the Secretary of War. I would say that I would trust my child's life in their hands.
You gonna unmute?
You're talking. You're muted.
This is a body language expert, and he goes into quite some detail. We don't have time to play the whole 8-minute video. Definitely worth the listen. But he goes into everything from how he is talking beforehand to how his hands have been frozen, the subconscious, the way it responses, the fact that he goes from a nodding affirmative head shake to a negative head shake. That's a subconscious reaction that basically says he does not believe what he is saying out of his mouth. He's a very controlled speaker. He's trained to speak publicly and do interviews like this. And so this body language expert goes through a considerable amount of example, talking about his hands. His blink rate stays the same. That's training. His voice moderation stays the same, but there's certain subconscious telltale body signals that belie what's really going on. There was something significant that shook him up emotionally, and then towards the end of the interview, he regains his composure, and he starts having some more positive control affirmation and so on and so forth, which is fascinating. And then I think this last clip is also from the same interview, or this is the original where the guy is doing this, where he's talking about the military side of things. Why the Treasury Secretary is talking about military, that's another point entirely. So let's see what he.
Situation room. Conversation picked up a few hours later when he was done in the Situation room. Here's a little taste of what we discussed about Iran and specifically what they'd been discussing in the Situation room. Are you starting to think, if this does keep persisting as it is, that the Navy has to go into the Strait of Hormuz to help ships get through, which would have a big effect on
that was always in our planning, that there's the chance that U.S. Navy or perhaps an international coalition will be escorting oil tankers through. There are, in fact, tankers coming through now, Iranian tankers, I believe some Chinese flag tankers have come through. So we know that they have not mined the straits.
And was that what you were just discussing in the Situation room?
We were discussing a plethora of things.
And is it your belief that the volume of ships going through the Strait of Hormuz will be improving immediately from now?
It is my belief that as soon as it is militarily possible, the U.S. Navy, perhaps with an international coalition, will be escorting vessels through.
Now, some context here is very important to understand. U.S. Navy, basically at the same time, has indicated that they will not be going into the Strait of Hormuz until it's secure, and it is too dangerous for an aircraft carrier, certainly, to go anywhere within 800 miles potentially of the coastline, and so we've actually moved our ships around, and there's some things like that we can get into. The Gerald R. Ford. We'll talk about a little bit later and what's going on there. The fact that the Bush, where the Poppy Bush is coming, and so on and so forth. Your meeting will end in 10 minutes. I just got a notification, so you've got the free plan, Hulk.
Oh well, no, you do, because you're the host.
Oh shit!
I've got the paid one. $16 a month for Leonidas on a Sunday.
Can you make co-host or whatever? How are we going to do this? Are we going to end?
I didn't know how to make a co-host, or I can't make it, but maybe since he's the paid account, you're going to right click on his name and make him the host.
Okay, and then he can do the co-host thingy.
Maybe.
All right, hold on. Let me.
You can close the window.
Yeah,
you can close the window. There's an X right there.
Stop.
It's on the
share.
little black. No, it's on the black box. Oh.
It's different. It's different for on my screen. Excuse me. Do I do this at?
So, participants at the bottom,
yeah, Tron.
and then the three dots on the right hand side.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not there.
Yep. Make host. Okay. Change host.
What the hell are you doing?
Okay. Now I'm doing it on a separate window that you can't see on the screen. Okay. So Tron is now the host. Oops.
Can you make him a co-host, Tron?
Yeah. Let me. Yeah.
Anybody notice that we have 8 minutes left in this meeting? That you guys should have joined my room because I paid for it.
That's what we were just talking about.
There we go. I think that's right.
It says Rdoc is host now. Did you make him host or co-host?
I guess I did it the wrong way, hey?
Well, unless whoever's account we're on, unless you guys paid for it, it only does 2 people. Anything more than 2 people, you only get an hour.
That's why we gave Tron the host.
Is that going to work? Do you think?
No, because you're still in Rdoc's room.
Yeah,
it was my room. So what? So one of you two need to invite everybody. Is what you're saying? Hello?
I did it the first time.
Yeah. We'll just hop over there then, right? We'll just do that.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, they are coming back into the room right
There we
now.
go. 5x5.
Rdoc, you are the host, sir. Did send Hulk the.
Oh, wait, okay, there we go. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yep,
Okay,
you're
great.
good.
All right. Share thing again. Share sound. Optimize. Share. Wow. Back to the old days. Wow. Okay. Let's move on. Let's move on. The bottom line is the U.S. carriers are kind of moving around to keep them protected. And we'll talk about what's going on with the Red Sea momentarily. All right. Iran troops on the ground. That seems to be a major topic. We'll cover it briefly. Basant again today talking about troops on the ground. Why
Keep
is
your eye
Basant
out.
talk?
Sorry, buddy. Just keep your eye out for Hulk because he's.
Oh, okay. Well, let's wait. Let's wait. Oh, it says admit. Somebody's got. Oh, I'm the guy. Okay, yeah. So, Hulk, let us know when you're in.
Hello?
Okay, there he is.
It looks just like you.
All right. So, why is Basant the one talking about Karg Island and significantly about U.S. Navy and coalition Navy opening the Straits of Hormuz? Well, he's in the process of setting up, as we discussed last week, setting up meetings with China, which may be delayed now. Certainly delayed until we get control and something of leverage to go to China so that Trump can meet with Xi Jinping. Right now, Chinese oil and Indian oil is allowed to pass through the Gulf, through the Straits, and Iran has allowed that, and the U.S. has allowed that. Interestingly, Iraqi oil is also potentially being allowed to pass through the Straits now. So Scott Bessant has a very strong vested interest to make sure that from a trade perspective and from a negotiation perspective, the United States has leverage on Venezuelan oil, Iranian oil, and potentially Russian oil. Now, in response to this, China has started to purchase massive amounts of Russian oil. India is stockpiling and hoarding oil, and they can't get enough of it. Their LNG is in trouble. And we'll get into global oil supply a little bit more. But he makes this is, I think, today he makes his comment about Karg Island again.
Laser focused on it. As I said, there was a bombing campaign last week. The military assets on Karg Island were destroyed. And the other thing I can tell you, if you're an oil worker, you don't want to work there. So all the oil workers there are being coerced to stay there. And we will see what happens with whether that eventually becomes a U.S. asset.
What would be your
that's the goal, is to 90% of the oil terminaling and offloading happens on the Karg Island. This is Iran, and Karg Island has a very long history. And if you're not familiar with where the Karg Island is located, let's show it. Now, actually, before we go there, these are the this is the USS Tripoli, LCAC or LHA has just passed the Straits of Malacca today. They were making 40 knots coming all this way. They still have about another 8 days to 10 days of transit time. And then there's other ships that are also following behind that are part of the Marine, and well, they don't call it amphibious unit anymore, MEU. But let's go show where Karg Island is, because this is important to understand the geography. This little tiny dot here is Karg Island. And Karg Island has a very storied history. It's not the first time the United States have had to take Karg Island. To understand topographically the region here, this is lowlands. This is a fairly flat island. Okay, and we can actually maybe even zoom in even more. And it is filled with oil tanks and processing facilities and terminaling and port facilities for ships to come and get loaded and transport. From there, it has a small airstrip. We bomb this. We hit, you know, uh, military sites, hard military sites, and so on and so forth. The issue is not taking Karg Island. If I talked to some people that were actually part of this particular MEU in their past, today, and to ask them about this, is the Marines have no problem taking this. Okay, even if they had to do without their LCAC and the F-35s, in proximity of the island, they can do an amphibious assault or air assault and make a beachhead on Karg from Saudi Arabia. And that's not the issue. The issue is holding it. The issue is holding this territory, because over here is highlands, mountainous regions and highlands that house and contain drones. And the difference between the 17th, 18th century Marines and their combat strategies and the way the Marines operate and today has not changed very much. There's the addition of aircraft and so on and so forth. It hasn't changed very much even since Vietnam. The issue is that now, with the addition of hypersonic missiles and cruise missiles and drones, including the fiber optic drones, which the Iranians are using, this makes holding Karg Island a problem. So once you get it, it's okay. The Marines can do that beachhead, boom. They're experts at this stuff. They can set up in 4 hours and their own airfield and their own airstrip to have their VTOL F-35s be able to support their operations and do combat air support in support of the beachhead. However, when you talk to these folks, they also understand that you cannot get a ship, a landing craft in here. You cannot get it past the strait. And not only that, but the mining. Okay, so there have been ships that have passed through the Strait of Hormuz, and they are following a path that takes them through this island, this particular island here, in between this island, hugging the coast of Iran and down out south into Oman, the Sea of Oman, but not anywhere in this vicinity. So what they're saying is, this is all mine now. This would take every mine layer in existence in our fleet, our NATO, the entire NATO fleet, and other folks that are not part of NATO but are our allies, to come and be able to clear this strait. And of course, they would be doing that under fire, under constant drone, under fast attack missile boats, etc. Which one of those fast attack missile boats just today, or yesterday, I guess for y'all, came out and attacked a tanker that was much further south in the Gulf of Oman. So an Israeli fast attack boat armed with two Chinese missiles essentially attacked a oil tanker down here near Strait of the Sea of Oman, not even in strait area here. So the strait is closed, and this is a severe issue with global oil supply, and this is affecting the entire region, the entire globe. So in order to get this opened, military analysts are saying essentially you have to control, I think I can draw a little polygon here, you have to control, so maybe I can't draw a polygon, this territory here. So some people are saying that the Marines, if they are utilized, would come down here in this heavily Balochistan ethnic region down here, where they might find better support. Again, this is all mountainous territory on this side. This is all lowland, of course, sea level here. And you would have to make sure you physically control this territory in order to be able to have ships transit this, and they would still potentially be harassed and targeted with the assistance of Chinese or Russian or whatever technology to be able to be hit from other Iranian assets down here. So the Navy's not stupid. They're not going to send their aircraft carriers anywhere in this region. And as a matter of fact, the Abraham Lincoln was supposed to leave the area and be replaced by the Ford. That has changed. And instead, the Abraham Lincoln is somewhere down here. And the Ford, which was coming from the Mediterranean down through the Red Sea, and then was going to have to face the possibility of getting through this strait, this is where the Yemeni Houthis are waiting and laying a trap. And there are ships transiting like crazy here because Saudi Arabia has the ability to move oil to its port infrastructure over here on the Red Sea, which Iran attacked the other day in response to Israel and the U.S. hitting its gas fields and it's hitting its oil infrastructure. And so this port structure and refinery and terminaling offloading that Saudi Arabia has available to it to also get oil out of the country.
Is that the pipeline? That new pipeline they were talking about?
This I don't know about a new pipeline. This pipeline has been around for a little while, but this particular storage and offloading facility was a key way that Saudi Arabia was getting around using the Gulf and the Straits of Hormuz to transit their oil. And they were going to shifting their transportation of oil to this facility, and now it's been bombed and attacked.
What I was referencing is there was a pipeline, I guess they built in the late 80s that goes across country to this side of the the sea, and they've never used it, and they turned it on, and it's pumping like 7 million barrels a day or whatever, but they need 20, but they only get 7 out of it.
Yeah, that is correct. And so if that's the pipeline you're referring to, yes, that is the one that they're using to get all the way across the country. This is one of their goals. Now, bottom line, the Ford, which was supposed to be providing air cover and protect this asset, had to leave the other day. They left and they transited back towards Crete and the Mediterranean to go get repairs, because that fire that raged, according to sailors, for like 60 days or something, or not 60 days, 60 hours, it was much more severe and had many more problems on board. I think you got a personnel problem too, is what I'm hearing, is that many of the sailors are attempting to sabotage, and we'll say it that way, but who knows? Bottom line is the Ford's out of the conflict zone at the present time, undergoing repairs and rework.
Well, what kind of fire was it? Can you give us a little details on the fire?
Where to go?
They didn't set the laundry on fire or anything like that? I mean, is it critical systems that were on fire, or what? That's all I was wondering.
It was enough, and it was big enough. Yeah, fire on U.S. aircraft carrier raged for hours. Sailors say the Ford is entering its 10th month of deployment after arriving in the Middle East from the Caribbean. This particular article goes into a little bit of detail, and I think, if I understand, the fire was it was large enough and it raged long enough that it displaced a significant number of sailors and made certain areas inoperable. Now, what those areas are, I don't know. It's not being released. That's probably very sensitive communications as far as the operational condition of our aircraft carrier. But it's enough that they had to pull it out of the region and undergo repairs and replace it with a poppy bush, which has now come into the Red Sea area here, or is transiting still. I'm not sure exactly where it is, and General Ford had to halt, turn back. So this aircraft carrier is supposed to protect the Red Sea region, and Iran has not really begun yet to attack this region, and the Houthis have not done anything yet, but it's expected that they will. If we have aircraft carriers or other groups that try to transit this area, we can expect that the Houthis would likely attack them. That is military planning and risk assessments looking at this situation that we're currently facing. And for comparison, this is important military historical thing. If you are not familiar with Gallipoli and the Straits of Dardanelles, Okay, the Dardanelles Straits. Okay, that's this region, if I'm not mistaken here. If I got the right, yeah, this is it. This this was an area that Britain, with their naval might back in World War I times, attempted to take from Turkey, and they could not get their ships through. Much more narrower. It was also mined, and they had to pull back and do a landing in Gallipoli, and they lost 250,000 soldiers. Okay, that is way back then. Military ships have changed a lot. There's a little bit of more technology, but the basic premise of warfighting and the use of naval forces has not. And strategically, you would not want to send some of your key assets for projection of force through an area that you know is subject to significant risk of being attacked, unless you first neutralize the threat.
How wide is that strait right there? At that narrow point right there? Is that like 20 miles? A few miles?
I can see if
I just wondered if you knew off the top of your head.
I don't know if I can make a mark. Yeah, I don't know how to do this on this particular deal, is to be able to measure it and do the measurements. Let's see. Yeah, I've screwed it up. I don't know how to do this.
Is that the Strait of Hormuz?
No, this is the Mandab. This is the Strait of Mandab, I believe is what it's called. And this is where the Yemeni forces have basically not attacked anything yet, but there is a steady stream of ships, tankers. So the tankers are using the Red Sea and the Suez Canal to transit to the Mediterranean, and the speed of which these ships can transit is significantly reduced because there's so much traffic. So it is definitely a choke point, and choke points are bad for military.
Really quickly, that's the Bab el Mandeb.
Yeah, Mandeb, Bab el
Says
Strait of
width.
Mandeb. Yeah.
Just so for Hulk's question, it says 18 to 20 miles at its narrowest. And just one more question for you, Rdoc, and I'll zip it. Is in the beginning you were playing that video about how Trump's like, hey, can you help us keep this area clean? Can you? So you think that's kind of like spotlighting these people, because don't all those countries need oil too? Right?
Yeah, yes, and this is the issue with the European Union. So if we want to look at this as a potential scenario for bringing down the deep state and stopping the war in Ukraine, the European Union is faced with a very tough choice, okay? Because their oil prices and energy costs are going up 60%, expected to go up to 80, 100%, doubling. This is significant impact to their economies, which are already suffering in recession. Germany has been deindustrialized as a result of the Ukraine war. They have given all of their weapons, their military, their treasure to the Ukraine war effort. And Zelensky was over with Keir Starmer just the other day and doing the money bag routine, and with Palm out, and the media starting to attack Zelensky for that. And Starmer said, we will support. But at the same time, Starmer says, we will not go and support here. Why? Because they know it's a fool's errand. They know that and their comments from Pistorius in Germany is, what the hell can our frigates do that the U.S. Navy cannot do? The U.S. Navy is the most powerful Navy in the world. And if they're reluctant to go in, as the Secretary of the Navy basically said last week, then what the hell are we going to do? We're going to waste our ships? They know that this is not a possibility if the U.S. cannot do it by itself even. But sure, they're willing to come in after the fact and provide support. But until this is secured, until you have the safety and security that those ships will not have a surface to sea missile that takes out their ship in a heartbeat. And this is the issue with the Marines. The LCAC, or the amphibious assault landing craft, they can't get here. They can't get to the Karg Island. So all this talk about the Karg Island, it would have to be a airdropped assault force. And then now you're talking about logistic supply lines to be able to support a force here that makes the beachhead. And then you have to fight uphill against mountainous terrain. It is a military warfighter's nightmare. It is not a scenario that you want to do. And there's historical precedents for the Kargan specifically. Hormuz is also a difficult thing. And the Iranians know this, and the Israelis know this. The Israelis, I'm jumping ahead now to the Israel's goal. And this is what Kent gets into his interview. So we'll keep going, and then we'll get into that question. So let's just move there. All right. Iran, what is this one? Iran region impact. Okay. So the regional leaders, Hulk, you posted this thing. Qatar.
I would like to point out the cameraman's perfect alignment made him look like he had a dunce cap the whole time.
Dunce cap or KKK cap or whatever you call it. But basically, Qatar has taken a major hit. And Iran has said, hey, you guys just tell the Israeli ambassador to leave your country and tell U.S. forces they can't use your airspace anymore and their bases to attack us, and we will stop. And also Qatar was hit as well. So this is Qatar here, and this is Bahrain. And Qatar had the Iranians, after the Iranians had their major gas facility attacked on the coast by the Israelis, and they hit this, they knocked out, I think, 2 phases of this LNG, the largest gas processing plant in the world. And the Israelis hit it. Now, Trump has said, I didn't know. The Israelis came out immediately and said, yeah, you did, and you approved it. So we got a little bit of blame game going on in this attack here. But Trump said, no more. Iran, Israel, you cannot attack any more Iranian oil assets. Okay, we'll see what Israel does, and this gets at the heart of the matter: are Israel's goals aligned with U.S. goals, aligned with Trump's "Make America Great" goals and his original policy statement? But Iran, after they were attacked, said, "Okay, gloves are off. It's fair game, and we're now going to attack global energy supplies in countries that are supporting your efforts to attack us." And so here we go. Boom. They listed a list of targets that they were going to attack and said, go evacuate all your people from these targets. And 2 of these were in Qatar, and the Qatar government evacuated these facilities, and they got hit. And they got hit pretty hard. So this is, further impacting one thing: the price of oil. Okay, it makes the price of oil go up. And they also attacked and said that they were going to attack a deal in the south of the UAE. There's a large gas field here. This is another huge gas processing collection facility down here in the southern region of the UAE, and the Iranians said they were going to attack that. They also said they were going to attack another facility in Saudi Arabia along the coastline, Al Jubail, I believe it was. Yeah, Al Jubail. And they did not hit it, but they did say it was a target. Instead, they hit Riyadh, and then they hit the Red Sea processing facility, which was a surprise. And there was no air defense. You have U.S. forces here, and this was one of those things where nothing stopped the missiles from coming in, and it was a missile attack. So this is the Iranians are not stupid.
Rdoc, really quick, just a quick insert. And this is, I don't know if this is a side note, maybe it has something to do with it, but going back years, right? That's one country that I've always heard too, like, oh, getting some. I mean, didn't they give Trump the friggin' the Air Force One? But like a lot of lobbying out of Qatar. Like they've been lobbying the crap out of and paying a lot of our people off for a long time as well.
So we have military bases all throughout the region, and this is a way of protecting our Gulf oil interests, okay, as well as also provide assurances and an umbrella of security for the UAE and Saudi Arabia, okay, and they're very ingrained in our banking system and so on and so forth. All right, the UAE, and I think I talked about this last week, I can't remember now. The UAE is suffering significantly with the fact that Fujairah is now shut down. It is completely shut down. This facility has been hit multiple times. There's no more processing. The oil is now burning, and it is done for a long foreseeable future. It will take a long time to repair it. So the UAE is pissed off, but they're also pissed off, and this is coming. I've met MBZ. I've been in the room with him in a security briefing, and he's not happy, and he has threatened the administration, our government, with pulling all the investment and all this money. It's huge. It's a huge sum. Okay, unless we start treating them and securing them as much and as well, if not better, than what we are doing for Israel and providing them air cover and air defense and so on and so forth. And it's not happening. They're getting attacked. The Dubai International Airport got attacked again. An oil fuel storage facility was hit. The real estate values in Dubai have dropped to pre-2023-ish levels, I believe. It's like a 60% drop. So if you bought real estate in Dubai between 2023 and now, you are underwater. Course, it doesn't show the whole picture because real estate was still going up. So if you were pre-2023, you're still in the money. But it's a significant concern because companies are leaving the region and repatriating their people back to their home countries. Dubai and the UAE really exist under this false umbrella assumption now that nobody will ever attack them because they are protected by the United States of America. And that assumption has now been thrown into the water, and they're not happy. So that's that. And they're not happy with Iran either. This is, but they all knew this was going to happen. They've all were told weeks in advance, if Israel attacks, if U.S. attacks, we're going to shut down the straits. We're going to attack you back. It's an eye for an eye policy. U.S. Israel attacked their oil assets first, so they attacked the oil assets back. That's the way it's kind of working out.
Hey, FYI, I don't know if you heard this from Bibi announced he wants the pipelines from the Persian Gulf to Israel ports. Did you hear him say that today?
I don't. I've got
somebody reminded me in chat.
I've got his whole speech later on here. The UAE air defense is now responding to missile and drone threats from Iran. So that's nothing new. But basically, the UAE is now like deciding they've chosen that they're going to be on the side of Trump's coalition. They really don't have a choice, really, when it comes down to it. So, the Turkish foreign minister basically also said they're going to kind of remain neutral. Even though they're a NATO ally, they understand that dynamics of what's going on with the Kurds in that region and what could potentially happen. And so they're pushing Iran to, hey, stop, friendly advice, stop. But they're keeping their channels open to both sides. And this is typical of Erdogan and the way he runs his government. He do the same thing with Russia. He likes to play both sides, I guess is the best way to say it. So that's kind of a regional response. All right, let's get into Kent before we get into too much more. I got a lot of stuff on Kent, so I don't doubt we're going to get through it all. So let's start with the letter. And somewhere I got the letter here. I stuck it. Where did I do with that letter? It's towards the end. I got so many. I know I grabbed that resignation letter somewhere. Where the hell is it?
I know I got it somewhere.
I know I got it somewhere. Get there somewhere.
Euler.
There it is. There it is. There it is. There it
Euler.
is. Catherine. There it is. Catherine. So Catherine Herridge was the first one I grabbed, and she should have been the first on the list. So her comments, I think, are appropriate to frame this. So the timing of his announcement, very key in the fact that the front and center, the congressional hearings from the intelligence community about cause, the justification, what's going on in this particular conflict was front and center this week. And literally right before this, you have this resignation being announced. And I don't know if I'll just read it really fast so we can get through it. It's really fast. President Trump, after much reflection, I have decided to resign from my position as director of the National Counterterrorism Center effective today. I cannot, in good conscience, support the ongoing war in Iran. Iran posed no imminent threat to our nation, and it is clear that we started this war due to pressure from Israel and its powerful American lobby. I support the values and the foreign policies that you campaigned on in 2016, 2020, 24, which you enacted in your first term. Until June of 2025, you understood that the wars in the Middle East were a trap that robbed America of their precious lives, of our patriots, and depleted the wealth and prosperity of our nation. In your first administration, you understood better than any modern president how to decisively apply military power without getting us drawn into never-ending wars. Demonstrated this by killing Qasem Soleimani and by defeating ISIS. ISIS and Iran are enemies, by the way. Early in this administration, high-ranking Israeli officials and influential members of the American media deployed a misinformation campaign that wholly undermined your America First platform and sowed pro-war sentiments to encourage a war with Iran. This echo chamber was used to deceive you into believing that Iran posed an imminent threat to the United States, and that should you strike now, there was a clear path to a swift victory. This was a lie and is the same tactic the Israelis used to draw us into the disastrous Iraq war that cost our nation the lives of thousands of our best men and women. We cannot make this mistake again. As a veteran who deployed to combat 11 times and as a Gold Star husband who lost my beloved wife Shannon in a war manufactured by Israel, I cannot support sending the next generation off to fight and die in a war that serves no benefit to the American people nor justifies the cost of American lives. I pray that you will reflect upon what we were doing in Iran and who we are doing it for. The time for bold action is now. You can reverse course, exit, and chart a new path for our nation, or you can allow us to slip further toward decline, chaos. You hold the cards. It's an honor to serve in your administration and to serve our great nation. Okay, so that's the letter. And then you start having responses come in. Nick Sorter, who's one of Susie Wiles' main shills on social media that she uses, just in President Trump response to National Counterterrorism Center Director Joe Kent resigning over the war in Iran. I always thought he was a nice guy, but I thought he was pretty weak on security. Oops, back.
Trump's now.
I didn't know him well, but he seemed like a pretty nice guy. But when I read his statement, I realized it's a good thing he's out because he said Iran was not a threat. Now, he didn't say the word imminent threat, and this is not what he said. He said imminent threat. So that's the words that Trump used very carefully had probably been prepped with him from Susie and her team. And it's very important what he says. Okay, so it's good. He's weak on security. He's weak. Okay. The attack started almost immediately, and he knew the attacks were coming. All right, so let's get into who Joe Kent is. This is just the wiki post on him. Blah, 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 blah. He did this 75th Ranger Regiment. So, and applied for special forces. So a lot of people say, oh, Green Beret, former Green Beret. No. He is a Black Beret. And this is a very important distinction for those of you in the know. Okay, is a Black Beret. He was, and this is important here, 75th Ranger Regiment, Special Forces, Intelligence Support Activity. Now, Those of you that have been with this show,
We've seen that one before.
that you know about the gray wolves, the gray foxes. Okay, and so this is not small potatoes. This is big potatoes. Now, here's his wife. His wife, she also enlisted at so he enlisted at 17, 18. He was 18 by the time he went into the military, went into the Rangers. Okay. And he deployed to Iraq a bunch of times. And in his role in ISA and other things, he fought Iraqi proxies Iranian proxies in Iraq all the time. He killed them all the time. He knew what a danger they posed to American troops and watched his people he knew die, etc., including his wife. Now, who's his wife? So this is fascinating. Who is Shannon? Shannon, did I pick her up too? Yeah, here's Shannon. Shannon is even more amazing. Shannon was one of the very first women to get qualified to do what she did in the ISA. She also was ISA. This is not bad. She arrived in region in Syria and told her husband that she was going and she had to deploy. And the last time he talked to her, and he was I think retired at the time, so he had already retired out of the military. She deploys and she's with another team of 5 or 6 people, and they got whacked by forces in Syria. Where to go? In that, yeah. So this is the Manbij bombing that occurred on 16 January 2019. We heard about this in the news. We maybe even covered it on the show. Okay, these were the contractors and other military personnel that were killed in Syria back in 2019.
I remember this.
Okay, and so this is fascinating when you get into it. So who were the people that were killed? There were 19 deaths, 10 civilians, 1 U.S. soldier, 1 U.S. sailor, 1 American contractor, 1 DOD employee, and 5 local escorts. Okay. Who was the sailor? Naval Chief Cryptographic Technician, Shannon M. Kent. Okay. She was doing signals intelligence work specifically on a very specific project. Part of this task force that she was assigned to from the ISA, the Ghost of the Ghosts, and with other ISA members, okay, and other key assets that were part of this team. And they went to this restaurant and they were tracked, they were killed, and this was part of the an operation specifically targeting them because of who they are and what they do. All right, so I think I have a couple pictures of some things here.
Doc, didn't you used to use that as your insignia?
Yeah. So this thing here, so it's got like a little Q shape, maybe. I don't know. Send me.
Oh, that a lot, didn't we, early on? But now it's coming back. Interesting.
Very interesting. So here she is, and this is a picture that was on his Instagram, and this is 2, 3, 4 years after she died. I think she died in 2019, so 3 years after she died. He, I think, retired in January 2018 from the military, and she died in 2019, about 1 year later, and left behind 2 twin boys, I believe, small boys. All right, so she's an operator, dude. And so these are both tier 1 operators. I can't stress that enough. These people are the ones that develop the intelligence, act on the intelligence, and they're like the ones we make movies about. Just to let you know, these are the types of people who these are. Okay. Now, this was about 1 year after her death. 1 year after her death, he made this post to riddle Donald Trump. We should not sit and wait for the next attack. Wipe Iran's ballistic capability out, get our troops out of Iraq. So he's talking about Iraq because the Iranian proxies were in there with the Iraqi militias and killing our soldiers who had no real mission. Okay, they were there and exposed and not not doing what we want to do. At the same time, one of the key things that was happening in Iraq is that we had toppled Saddam Hussein under George Bush, right? That whole thing. We went into Iraq, and he talks about Powell in his interview in that whole thing. And we replaced the Ba'athist secular regime, not with Sunnis that were fighting with the Shia Iranians for 20 years. We replaced them with a Shia government. So you now have Iran, Iraq, while they're two separate states, really operating as one kind of super state. And that is intelligence product that we have in our intelligence assessment that is released by DNI Gabbard to understand this region and how it works. And that is what is happening in Iraq today. Why fiber optic drones are being used by Iraqi militia, being told they're Iranians. They're not Iranians. These are Iraqi Shia militia that want the U.S. out of the region, want the U.S. completely out of the region. And they are working hand in coordination, and have been since Joe Kent was there. And this is what one of his issues has been about why Iraq was a failure ultimately and didn't serve our purposes, but served Israel's purposes. Absolutely. So he is absolutely pissed off about the loss of lives and why our soldiers were over there getting killed for no purpose. And each body that was brought back is something personal to him because of his wife's death. Okay, so that's him. Here's another picture of him with Tulsi Gabbard. This is your. I don't know what to make of this, Hulk. You sent me this, but just the fact that she's ex-military. She was major intelligence. He's intelligence. Okay, you see, so there's an interesting relationship there. That's the same little tweet. Matter of fact, Donald Trump reposted that one back in 2020. So it's Trump supported him in his campaign. So let me go to that little thing here. Now, immediately after Kent released his statement, which in a way can be viewed two ways. One, it provides the president with a way to maybe get out of this trap that may have been laid for him and laid for our country, and pointing Israel, as to who laid the trap, maybe. But it would still be damaging to the administration, and it is damaging to the administration. It is damaging to the PR and the credibility of the president of the United States. But he answers that question in his interview, and I encourage people to go watch the whole interview. We aren't going to have time to play it on the show today. But Tulsi Gabbard has to come out and issue a statement in support of the president. That's who she is, and she's still military and commander in chief. That's her mindset. And so her statement, though, is very, very important to read through. Donald Trump was overwhelmingly elected by the American people to be our president and commander in chief. This is our constitutional form of government. The president is commander in chief. As our commander in chief, he is responsible. He has placed the responsibility, the decision of what is happening directly on the president's feet. This is a very carefully chosen words. Okay, as our commander in chief,
he makes the decision, though.
He's absolutely, and that. But she is also different from other administrations. Not saying we made a collective assessment. She is always maintaining and saying, we provide this, we provide that, we do this, we collect this, we provide this. She's not saying what her position was in the decision making or her opinion. She's not stating her opinions at all, but she's clearly saying the decision is the president's. So this is where the buck stops here, right? He is responsible for determining what is and is not an imminent threat. Okay, so they can provide all the intelligence in the world from the 17 agencies, analyze foreign intelligence that are coming in from the Israelis, and determine what is not true and what is true, and what is bunk and what is not bunk, if they know about it, if they are told about it, if it's part of their intelligence assessment and product, and whether or not to take action he deems necessary to protect the safety and security of our troops, the American people, and our country. The Office of the DNI is responsible for helping coordinate and integrate all intelligence to provide the president, commander in chief, with the best information available to inform his decisions. This is a process. This is our function. This is what we do. After carefully reviewing all the information before him, including our assessment, President Trump concluded that the terrorist regime, Islamist regime in Iran, pose an imminent threat, and he took action based on that conclusion. End of statement. It's not a admission that she disagreed or agreed. She's not adding to whether or not Kent did the right thing or not the right thing. In fact, he goes into some discussion about why he decided, after many of his colleagues said, no, you shouldn't leave. You should stay in and do good. And he said, I can't do that. I just can't. One more life lost on my watch, and the prospect that they know what will happen with potential in-country, homegrown sole actor terrorists, which they have been tracking 18,000 known terrorists in the country, and that under the Biden administration opened the borders to millions of more potential issues. His statement with Tucker Carlson was, get them the hell out. Donald Trump should immediately strengthen the border and start deporting these people and finding them and deporting them immediately, because yeah, there's a risk of terror cells, but it's kind of low risk with the way we have signals intelligence, blah, blah, blah. We can track, we know where they're at, etc. And so cell groups doing terror acts is not as important as the fact that Iran, relying in the rhetoric that is transferred through social media, affecting a homegrown, willing participant willing to do sole acts of terror. This is something that he says is part of their intelligence assessment, and that the president has been briefed on as part of their product that goes to the president. Whether that is acted upon, considered, that's something he doesn't know. That's something that only the president of the United States can know and can comment on. Okay, so that was very interesting. So this is an interview back when he was running for Congress, I believe. If I'm not mistaken, this is 2020. No, wait, was this 2025? No, this is January 24. So he had not yet become the director for the National Counterterrorism Center yet. He was still out there. I think he was doing his run for Congress at this time. His second attempt to unseat the woman, the Democrat that won when he first ran, to unseat the Republican nominee that voted against President Trump and against the January 6th. One of the few Republicans in the House that voted against Trump. He was running to defeat him with Trump's endorsement and with J.D. Vance and others, it was J.D. Vance and others supporting his run for election. And the Charlie Kirk relationship, and so Charlie Kirk was supporting him, and so on and so forth. Very interesting thing. So all this Nick Fuente stuff and all the smear campaigns that were directed against him to remove him and not make him the Republican nominee to go against the Democrat nominee, that all that talk about Nazis and association with skinheads and Proud Boys and stuff like that, that was all smear campaign directed to make sure he could not be the Republican nominee by the other Republican nominee. And then the Democrats just went full left and left him in the dust on the first election, and so on and so forth. So very interesting thing. And I think there was an article about this that was interesting. I stuck it. Anyway, there was an article about this in Mother Hubbard or something like that. I can't remember. All right. The interview. This gentleman is Willie. Willie, we'll just call him Willie. He does analysis and geopolitical analysis, mostly military analysis on the war in Ukraine, but he's done other things as well. And he goes into considerable amount of detail explaining what Joe Kent's analysis means. I would recommend just looking at it, using the information that you get to process this and compare and contrast other information that you're receiving. But he provides his perspective also from a military officer in how what Kent is saying, that Kent has more intelligence in his pinky toe, more knowledge of what's going on, and more intelligence experience as this tier 1 operator and what he did in his role than all the Mark Levins and Alan Dershowitz and Laura Loomers combined. And he knows what the hell he's talking about. And I found that perspective interesting because I don't always agree with what Willie talks about on the Ukrainian side. So just take that for what you will. There is an article. Okay, so let's see. This is 2024. So here it is. It's the 11-minute interview. We don't have time to play the whole thing, but I want you to hear. If you haven't seen this yet, go watch it. Do with it what you will. But it's. I've told all the guys, watch the full hour-long interview. Tucker.
It's 2 hours.
Oh, is it 2 hours? Okay. Tucker asks him all the questions. And one of the things that they get into specifically, I have this thing. Full one. I swear I had the full one here. Maybe I did.
We're getting a little late there, boys. I know
Yeah.
issues, but
okay. Let me.
Was Iran on the verge of getting a nuclear weapon?
No, they weren't, 3 weeks ago when this started, and they weren't in June either. I mean, the Iranians have had a religious ruling, a fatwa, against actually developing a nuclear weapon since 2004. That's been in place since 2004. That's available in the public sphere. But then also we had no intelligence to indicate that fatwa was being disobeyed or it was on the cusp of being lifted. The Iranian strategy, it's actually pretty pragmatic. The Iranians are obviously aware of what's taking place in their region, and their strategy was to not completely abandon their nuclear program because they saw what happened to Muammar Gaddafi in Libya when he said, hey, I've got no more nukes. I'll do what you say. I'll give up my nukes.
And we gave him the Nobel Peace Prize?
Yeah, we regime changed him, and he was, executed by his own people in the most horrific way.
Oh, sodomized by a bayonet. Right. Okay. So that's that's the lesson, I think, that the entire region took from that when Hillary Clinton.
Unfortunately, that's what the neocon, neoliberal warmongers, that's the lesson that they showed everyone in the region. And then conversely, the Iranians also knew that if they came out and said, okay, we've got a nuke, whether they were bluffing or not, Saddam Hussein, Iraq right next door. So they kind of had this.
And he hung, I think.
He was hung by his own people, after a bloody, war that's still essentially going on inside of Iraq. So the Iranians' position, when viewed from the lens of the region, was actually fairly pragmatic. They were preventing, themselves from developing a bomb, but they still wanted the ability. They wanted the ability to enrich. They wanted the ability to have some components so that they weren't completely stripped of it. And when we always assessed that they were either several months or a year, 2 years away from actually being able to develop a nuclear weapon. And that's not because the Iranians are stupid people. I think we can tell right now that the Iranians are anything but stupid. They had the ability, I think, that the brain power to actually develop one, or they could have simply traded a ton of oil with Pakistan or with someone else to actually get a nuclear weapon. They were not doing that. We had no intelligence to indicate that they were.
Then why was the president, was he told that they were on the brink of it? Why at the beginning of every conversation about Iran would the president say, I don't want Iran to have a nuclear weapon? Why was that the central question when, and you would know since you were the director of the National Counterterrorism Center, why would he say that if there was no intelligence or evidence that they were actually developing a nuke?
So a couple things. This is what I talk about in the letter about this ecosystem of information that's laundered through a lot of prominent neoconservative types that are very sympathetic to the Israeli cause, and then also Israeli government officials who give us things in semi-official channels. What they did was they created basically a shifting red line or a new red line. So that if the president's red line was Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon, we've actually got a lot of trade space in there for a deal to be made, because of what I just described with the Iranian policy. Essentially, the Iranians saying, okay, well, we don't want a nuclear weapon. Well, that means we basically are at a point where we can start negotiating and we can come up with a deal. And the president is a fantastic deal maker. So if your goal is to move us away from any kind of deal and your goal is to move us into a conflict, you have to shift that red line. And that's where a lot of this, I would say, what became a de facto U.S. policy of Iran can have no nuclear enrichment it was laundered through a lot of the different talking heads, Mark Levin, Mark Dubowitz. You've got the Foundation for the Defense of Democracies, you name it. Washington, D.C. has plenty of pro-Israeli lobbyists who will come and say those things, who will publish think pieces on it, who will go on the media, who will run, op-eds in the Wall Street Journal to talk about this, why they can't have any enrichment whatsoever. And then we have a high degree of engagement with Israeli government officials who will come in and say, well, they're enriching and they could enrich, or they could enrich more, and that will get them closer to a nuclear weapon. So then enrichment basically became the new U.S. policy. And the official I've heard, and folks are welcome to look for this, that said this in the first Trump administration was Mike Pompeo. He said it. The president didn't say it. The president has been very consistent. He said they can't have a nuclear weapon. But again, like I said, that puts us at a place where we actually could have negotiations. And only President Trump, I think, could successfully have negotiations with Iran because he actually punched them in the face. And the Iranians had been walking all over us. They had been killing our soldiers. All of that is true. I have no sympathy whatsoever for the Iranians, what their proxies were doing. President Trump level set that when he killed Qasem Soleimani and he killed Abu Mahdi Mohandas. The folks who wanted to push an actual regime change war in Iran knew this, and they knew there was a potential to get a deal, or there was a potential for President Trump just to continue the policy of maximum pressure sanctions, and if you come after us, we will hit you hard. And that got the protesters out on the street in Iran, and that's actually what the regime feared the most. I don't think the Ayatollah feared dying, not because he, is some crazy lunatic. I'm sure some degree of the Shia martyrdom culture played a factor in that. However, I think he knew that if he was killed, the regime would survive because the people would rally around the regime.
I believe you predicted this.
And he did predict it. I mean, he's been consistent on that. That is just a taste of kind of his thought process, his words, and what he says. President Trump, the only president that could deal with Iran. The only president. He bloodied them in the nose. He punched them in the face. He started pulling our troops out of Iraq. He started pulling our troops out of Afghanistan. Biden effed up the Afghanistan withdrawal. And President Trump was consistent in his messaging. But did Rubio gave away the candy store when he went and he said Israel was going to attack anyway. And so we had to react because our troops in the region were now going to be under threat of attack themselves. They knew Iran was going to respond the way they did, and so did Israel. And this gets at the heart of the testimony, which we don't have time to go in today, with Tulsi Gabbard and what her response was when asked by members of Congress, what did we know? When did we know it? How did you brief the president? And the full interview, he goes into detail about how the difference between what the intelligence processing was on the 12-day war, leading up to the 12-day war, when Trump said, no, we are not going to regime change. No, that is not our objective. We do not want to create this global oil crisis. We do not want to. That changed in the second deal where the intelligence product had not changed out of the DNI's office. It still was the same assessment. No, we obliterated their enrichment facilities. Yes, they may still have this enriched uranium at 60% somewhere here. No, they're not pursuing a bomb. No, they're not pursuing acquiring a bomb. But that assessment hadn't changed. But something changed in the people that were allowed to meet with and voice their opinions with the president at this time. And that change is something that a lot of people have questions about. And hopefully our president has the right advisors. And this is the issue. Israel is okay with creating an Iran that's completely destabilized, completely in chaos, and completely the oil situation in the region is destroyed. It weakens their neighbors. It weakens these Arab countries, and Israel is okay with that. The United States is not, and the Trump administration is not. And so this gets at the issue of, are our two countries' interests aligned? They talk like us. They have dual citizenship in many cases, but is the state of Israel policy something that is more nefarious? And that's an answer that will take 9 hours of very deep digging to understand 2,000 years of history. And that's a red pill and a rabbit hole that a lot of people would have to go down on their own, because dogma is something that plays a strong part. The three pillars of control: military, money, and religion. We'll end it there.
He said it a few times this week too. Yeah, a little different. We got a little different, and I think you had a couple clips on it as well, talking about the goals in Iran being a little bit different. And again, I'm going to stay on the stance of ever since, and this is highlighting this even more perfectly. Ever since that Charlie Kirk boom boom situation, whatever happened, literally since that day, it's been bang bang bang. That certain country for last, boom boom boom. And the more you look around, the more you're seeing it exhibited, right?
Well,
so I got a question for you. Is it a possibility?
Yes.
That maybe entertain the idea that all of this is for a big flashing neon light to highlight the pressure from Israel over us, because you also noted that they're the insignias of where they used to work, but also the fact that, oh well, he did this resignation the day of that little meeting right there. So like I'm looking at it like, yep, Israel for blink 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 blink.
Some people can go dig on that, but let me throw a scenario out there, and this is something that people can go dig on. Could the president have approached him, or through Tulsi or whatever, to cause this situation to erupt, so it would cast a light on the situation and the pressure and maybe even the compromise and the threats that Israel posed to the United States? Because the Israeli lobby and the deep state and its infiltration, not invasion, I mean, they created the banking system. They created the concept of corporate indirect ownership. They created the system that replaced the bloodline rule of the Habsburg and Lotharingen bloodlines, and replace them with republic democracies. Okay, hidden behind the scenes people that can control the elected representatives. Okay, that was all created through a lot of manipulation over 2,000 years. Okay, and the question becomes why. And that's a deep dark rabbit hole that a lot of people will not choose to go down because of their religious beliefs. Okay, so the answer to your question is yes, it is a possibility how this might end in transit. The European allies are being strangled. Those deep state guys that really laugh and Trump's our buddy, but yet, so they have basically said, okay, USA will make you a deal. You come in and support Ukraine, you give us more money, you support Ukraine, and we'll come help you in the Gulf. Well, they're not going to help in the Gulf. They don't have any assets to help in the Gulf, but they'll do it. They don't care if their ships get destroyed. They want the money. They want the deep state to continue in its effort. So now they're being strangled. Global energy supply is being strangled. Okay. More so than us. We have energy. We have stuff we can use. We are very rich in that. China's stockpiling. Russia has energy. Is there a situation where a single man standing up, who cannot live with another man's life being lost and being responsible for potential terrorist attacks, that he could have stopped by even taking the action of sacrificing himself for this and giving Donald Trump an out?
Which doesn't do anything either, right? It doesn't. And think about it in the grand scheme of things. Does him resigning stop what's going on over there? No, he just put somebody else in there that will go along with whatever he says to do, right?
That's what we have to see. We, the people, this is our responsibility in our moment of what we do and what we are led to do after digging, memeing, and praying. Okay, well, some people may have that as part of what they feel God is directing them in their peaceful alignment. Again, it all comes back to what your choice is in the moment, and your choice in the moment, it comes down to one thing: the deception of separation is the greatest illusion. We are never separate. We have only one choice in this great life that we live: self or selflessness. It comes down to as simple as that. And evil manifests itself the greatest when it seeks to use our love against us by making us lose that unity, lose that belief and understanding that we are all one, and make us divided. And it seeks to divide us so that we can cast dispersions, and evil loves to use our love to turn it into a passionate, angry response to hurt others.
Did you see that Chase Hughes video? The guy who, I think he was a CIA guy or something like that, but he basically did a video. I think it was like 40 minutes or so. But he said, I'm a real big fan of like ancient manuscripts, and so he's read thousands of them or whatever. But he basically said there's like 5 key rules that all of these old manuscripts basically came down to. And like the first one was, you're not separate from me. I'm not separate from you. We're all one, and you couldn't be separate, right? And so if you haven't seen that, I'll drop in a link in the chat for these guys, and I'll drop it for you as well, Rdoc. But it's pretty much just what you said. I think there was a few other that went along with it, but he said all of these old manuscripts said the same thing. And I got Hulk doing the little wave on my screen. Let's see.
The very last thing I'm going to mention,
I'm here.
just because it can't be not mentioned,
It's
is
me.
the very last thing I'll mention is Cuba. The Russians are sending a tanker of 730,000 barrels of oil to Cuba. It will take at least 30 days to process that into refined products that can be used to stabilize their energy situation. It is being sent on a Russian flagged vessel. What happens to that vessel when it hits the blockade that we have in place on this with the humanitarian crisis is very key. The other situation I said last week to keep an eye on is China. Trump has a $16 or $11 billion package for Taiwan's weapons that is sitting there on the table that is being used kind of like as a negotiating tactic. But China is restricted their oil exports to places like Australia and the whole region, and they're preparing because Taiwan might become another issue as well. So you could have zones of control, spheres of influence. This global conflict could expand and accelerate, and there are some forces that are absolutely okay with that. So I don't know. Keep an eye on it.
Hulkinator, are you around? You with us? You here?
Yeah, I'm still here. I'm just waiting for you guys to finish your conversation as we're going to wrap up the end of the show right here.
We're done. We're done.
Yeah, make sure you guys leave comments on the bottom of the video and then smash the thumbs up. And we're going to continue this saga on Saturday with the Hulk and Space Shot Show, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time over there on the Rumble channels. And I believe Tron is still awake over here. Tron, what's for dinner?
Yeah, I just got done doing an oil change on the 2002 Ultima. Guys, tomorrow night.
Hot. You're coming in hot.
Oh, well, whatever. Tomorrow night, I'll see you guys tomorrow night for Friday Funnies, Saturday Keeping It Wheels, Sunday morning Great Awakening morning show. Thank you guys for an awesome show. Thank you for your support. Much love. Dig, meme, and pray. Where we go, when we go, all bums. I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Somebody's tired.
Yeah, dude. It's like 3-4 hour show. I did 6 hours on Sunday. I might do 7 this Sunday. We're gonna break records, dude.
Records, damn.
Break records. Yeah.
All right, Mr. Space Shot, your final thoughts and all that?
Wait, usually go to Rdoc.
I kind of gave it all. I mean, I don't know what more I
can
could do. Self or selfless. I mean, that's my final thought.
He's good. Okay. Well, yeah. Let me just thank a few folks over here on the D Lives. The Patriot Chick, Rdoc, and P Dancer are the top 3 contributors over there. Appreciate that. Patriot Chick, Rdoc, and P Dancer. I'm distributing the rewards. They're coming at you in about, just dropped my phone, 27 seconds and counting. And just a couple of people to thank from earlier. Josie Ann had gifted out 5 subscriptions to the channel, and then Mr. Swick had gifted one out as well. We do greatly appreciate that as well. And I don't know if I'll be back tomorrow at noon or not. My son has no school tomorrow, so I don't know. Keep it posted, guys. I I might not do a show tomorrow at noon. I'll keep you guys posted. I might have to do one in like the evening tomorrow. Got a couple things in the works. So just keep your eyes on the social medias, and I will post out what's going on over there. Always a big hat tip to the mods who helped myself and many others out there over the course of these last many years. Very selfless help, and we do appreciate that. And always a big hat tip to our friends over at Liberty Base News Country and the folks over there. And Hulk, I'm sure you have a few thanks to thank, so why don't you go ahead and start thanking?
Sean and On over there in the Rumble side did the Rumble rant earlier. No AI furries bot here at the Rumble bot. Yay. He's talking with the Rumble bot over there. We got a big thing of gold pills over here for Januki. Gifted the shades. Good Dog 45 with the can. Schwicky with the shades. Q shook me all night long. Gifted the can. Said it's exciting times. Where we go one, we go all. Sean Joe with the cookie and secret weapon. It spells it weird. He's got the cookie out there. With Sean Joe with another cookie. One Thunder with the can. Sean Joe with a cookie. Another cookie. Another cookie. Kelly Cummins gifted in the ship.
Yay.
One Thunder gifted the cookie, and Sean Joe with a cookie itself. I'll come up with something else for you guys out there too. Those damn kids, get it back in there. So like Space Shot always says,
we do appreciate each and every one of you wonderful world patriots for tuning in out there. And until that next one, thumbs up, like, and subscribe. Peace.
Much love. Be good humans, guys.
Table Titans. There you go.
Let's go. Now to